Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 50th Marshall Chess Club. Wait, which number Marshall Chess Club Championship is it? 100th?
More than that, 106, I think.
106th Marshall Chess Club Championship. Yeah. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I'm FIDE Master Nathan Resica, and this is International Master Jay Bonin. Just to give you a bit of our background with no false modesty, I'm a FIDE Master and the 2013 United States Senior Chess Co-Champion. Jay Bonin is an international master of renowned fame, though that's a bit redundant, I know. And he was one of the only people, maybe the only person, to win the Triple Crown about 25 or 30 years ago, where he won the New York State Championships, the Marshall Chess Club Championship, and the New York City Championships in 1 year.
Well, it was the Manhattan Chess Club Championship. It was the New York State Championship.
Correct.
Yeah.
I stand corrected. So
I also won the Queens and the Nassau Championships. So I actually won 4 club championships plus the New York State Championship all in the same year, and that was in 1997. You know, a year I'll remember.
Yes, and Jay is just a great chess player, and the devotion he's put into the game is what gives someone that kind of ability, supreme devotion. And I've watched him over the years, and it's great to have him here. He'll be playing in this tournament starting tomorrow. Today he has a half-point bye, meaning it's as if he took a draw, so he could help us narrate. And I was going to play, but instead I will be announcing color blow-by-blow commentary for the championship for rounds 1 today, round Saturday, and Sunday during the day. That's rounds 1, 3, and 5. Rounds 2, 4, and 6 will be announced by Alexander Lenderman, very strong grandmaster and U.S. championship participant. Jay, just let me add, has probably beaten every grandmaster in New York.
Well, almost every grandmaster.
At least before the last 10.
There's a few that have my number. Yeah. Yatsa Saruwan I have to figure out how to beat, but first he's got to play again, so I could have the chance. But yeah, the great thing about playing is to get to play all these legendary players. I played Sammy Reshevsky. He was my first Grandmaster scalp, and you know, he used to be one of the best players in the world, and I got a shot to play him, and it was on my 27th birthday that I beat him. So that was a nice birthday present. You know, it's things like this that keep me going.
And his 72nd, he was 72 at the time,
but still. He was 72 that year.
He won U.S. championships.
Or 71, I think. He was
but
born
didn't he win United States chess championships in his 60s?
Yes, and I think in 1972 he was a co-champion along with Kavalik and was it 72 or 73? It was definitely in the early 70s. So he's been around a long time. You know, he's won them in the 30s, 40s, 50s. Truly dominant player. So
yes.
I was really glad to get a piece of him. You know, I actually checkmated him. Not too many people checkmated Sammy Reshevsky.
Right, usually
he's a smart enough man to beat, but to get the checkmate him.
Yes, usually a player like that sees it coming and resigns.
Yeah, resignation is the usual case, but you know, I guess Sammy had issues, and you know, wanted to play on, so I checkmated
we could
him.
talk about him for a long time, and we're talking about this a bit because these are long games coming, so we're just filling you in on the color commentary. I've probably had about at least 50 wins over international masters in classical chess. And anyway, so now we're going to get to the games of tonight's championship. And let's start going here. Let's go to board 1. And we will go back because these games are in progress. So let's go back a few moves and see how this game started. We have Grandmaster Fidel Corrales Jimenez, a Cuban immigrant who defected from Cuba around 10 years ago. And he's really enjoying America, and he says he loves it. He's a fierce fighter at the board. He's rated, he's our #1 seed, rated over 2,600. I should add, I had a draw with him a year ago, and he was a very good sport about it.
I never
So-
got to play him. However, I shared first place with him in the Cleveland Open. I think it was 2016 or 2017. I was combining tournament and family, rather, because I have two brothers that live in nearby Akron, Ohio, so I would coordinate to visit them and play in the Cleveland Open.
Wow.
And,
Who knew?
Fidel Corrales Jimenez was in that tournament a couple of times, and I actually tied for first place with him.
All right, great. That's a great achievement. Now let's get started.
Yeah, okay.
Fidel Corrales, by the way, this last year, he really went on a tear. He's almost 40 years old, and he won the World Open clear, not tie. Almost everyone ties at that tournament, and he took something like $15,000. And then he went to the World Cup. So this has been a great resurgent year for him.
Yeah,
And so here we go. He is E4, one of the obviously best first moves of the game he could play, and indicating he likes to attack usually. So let's see. Oh, and here we have,
That's the most popular reply, the Sicilian defense.
and the most fighting. And he's playing against, who is he playing? Brian Lynn, a FIDE rated only 1466, but I have a feeling his U.S.
These
rating.
kids are better than their rating. They're all improving. You could easily add 200 points to their rating.
Guess what his U.S. rating is? He is 2201. He is a master.
Now he's a master.
And his FIDE rating is 1400. That just shows.
Well, that's going to change real soon.
FIDE is doing a lot about deflation soon to take care of this. But here we go. So National Master plays the most fighting defense, which shows courage against a fighter like Corrales, right? You could play E5 and try to play more solid. Anyway, here we go. Let's make a few moves. D6. No, we don't have to
Very
stay much about.
popular move, although I don't do it myself when I'm black. I prefer knight c6.
Interesting. I often do too. I'll switch up. And so here we go. We go D4, cracking open the game. But in return, he's giving up a center pawn for a side pawn, which gives black a certain positional advantage in exchange for the active development that white has.
Well, you got a half-open c-file for an eventual rook move there, and
For black, right?
for black, and white gets to have a centralized knight, and white already has a slight space advantage, but of course that could change in a matter of moves. But,
You know what's funny? I used to play only E5 with black, and I always played white against the Sicilian. And now, I always thought white, I always liked white, but now I look at it, I always thought all my wins against the Sicilian, I always thought it was because black overlooked something.
I mean, it's important to have a wide repertoire and not just play one opening. I mean, I went through stages where I played the same thing over and over. I mean, there was a period where I would play only the French defense, and but it's bad for a number of reasons. You become predictable, and also you could get bored from playing the same thing over and over again. So for that reason, it's important to mix it up and play different openings.
And Jay wrote a book called Active Pieces, which you can get on Amazon, Active Pieces, and by Jay Bonin, and it actually shows how varied he ended up doing his opening repertoire.
Yeah, very important to mix it up.
So he's always done that, and it stood him well. So let's see what happens. Knight comes out and attacks the center pawn. So we protect it.
Yep. So
And let's go. Now we have what's called the classical Sicilian. It develops black's pieces quicker than most Sicilians, and that has a lot to say for it.
Yeah, I mean, of course you could play G6 or E6. That's and of course A6, which is the knight off.
You could play other moves like he said. Jay says he could play G6.
Yeah.
The dragon variation.
Right.
Because the pawn constellation represents a dragon's tail.
Yeah. You could play E6.
You could play E6 to Scheveningen variation.
Right.
Scheveningen is the actual pronunciation, though many people say Scheveningen.
Scheveningen, I think, is the correct pronunciation.
Actually, I was in Holland. It's Scheveningen.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
This is
definitely pull rank on you here. Yeah. So
stand
let's
corrected.
Yeah, it's like
these years.
it's just like it's not fianchetto bishop. It's fianchetto.
Fianchetto.
Yes.
I didn't know that either.
So,
Boy,
yeah, so-
I'm learning a few things in my youth.
Well, at least it's more important to understand how to play that than how to pronounce them, right, Jay?
It's true.
So,
It's nice to be corrected after, I mean, God, how ignorant could I be?
It never hurts to learn how things are pronounced and to go way back,
Yeah.
So let's go back. So here's what Corrales plays. Bishop
This is a
G5.
Richter Rooser.
Yes, what is he after here?
He wants to give double pawns, which I would do in a flash because in all the games I play, I always like to give my opponent double pawns, with a bishop G5 move.
Right,
But of course, black's not going to allow
So,
it.
so black allows it, but
Because he
most
doesn't.
players, including me when I have played
Yeah,
this,
I do
play
E6.
this move to avoid the double pawns.
Right.
Now, if bishop takes knight,
Take the
queen can take, and now black has two nice bishops, and probably is doing a little better.
And if white plays knight b5, you just play queen d8, and then you'll chase the
Right.
knight back, and white ends up losing time there. And
Right,
black has the
okay.
bishop pair, so that would not be too good.
Right, so he played bishop d7, meaning he's going to allow the double pawns.
Yeah.
And Corrales decided not to take the double pawns anyway, because Corrales likes his two bishops. He's a very good
Yeah.
attacking player. And after a6, looks like we're transposing to a bit of a Najdorf type thing. What do you think?
E6 is a popular move in a lot of these Sicilian variations because it often prepares black to play b5, which usually starts a counterattack, and it also controls the b5 square, so white cannot put any pieces there. So
Right.
the a6 move has a double purpose.
Yes, he's going to push his pawn to b5 soon,
Yeah.
probably, but still, he's got to develop his king side sometime.
Yeah, eventually black's going to have to develop it, but at the moment he's pretty solid, and
So check that out. He castled queenside.
yeah, that's a move. And,
Quick development, central pressure,
Yeah.
and now finally he does play e6 because
Right.
he's got to get that black bishop out.
Yeah.
But now because of the a6 move, white can't, for instance, play a knight to b5 and attack
Right. So you
the
got to
c6
continue
square.
elsewhere.
So what he does is f3.
Yeah, that's a good move. It overprotects the e pawn. So
And he could be preparing to play g4.
yeah, g4 and push the king side pawns as a part of an attack, and
And then h4. And then maybe move his bishop or trade it.
at some point you can move your knight off of c3, and you don't have to worry about your e pawn anymore. So
Right, so we have rook c8 here. Seems to make
Yeah.
sense, right?
black has ideas of knight e5 and knight c4, which is also common in the dragon. As
Yep.
a,
That's his plan to swing forward and here,
Yeah, to
possibly.
try to provoke
Yeah.
white into playing bishop takes knight and
Right?
giving up his white squared
If
bishop.
he can get away with leaving his king in the center.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a pretty solid position for black, so you don't have to worry about castling just yet.
Yeah, because black has that extra center pawn, so it's a little
Yeah.
bit of shelter on his king. But eventually he's got to commit his king, but
Yeah.
sometimes you leave it in the center in this.
Yes, I mean,
Yeah.
in beginner books, they teach you to castle your king very quickly, but as you get better, you will learn that there are some exceptions to the rule. I mean, I myself like to put off castling as long as I can until it's necessary. There's a saying, castle not when you can or when you will, but when you must. And,
I thought it was actually when you can or when you must, but when you will.
No.
But really, because only castle when you must. That's sometimes, oh no, I'm forced to. I mean, okay.
Yeah,
It's an interesting statement.
meaning, you feel your king is in imminent danger, that is the time to castle if you can.
Right.
Like
Okay, if we make a generalization.
if the center is getting blown, you don't want your king in the center under those circumstances. So,
Right. So here we have black. The quandary of black is he'd like to not castle because once he castles, he's a target for the white pawn storm. So he'd like to see if he could get something going on the queen side first. Maybe it's an interesting way to play when you're black and a Sicilian.
also, trading the queens would be a plan, but that's a long way off.
Right.
And suddenly it's not important to castle as much when you're in an endgame.
Yes, and if you're trade queens, right, then your positional features become to the
Yeah.
fore, like your open C file and your good centralized king.
Black
Okay.
would love to trade off lots of pieces
Yep.
because the pawn structure is a little more compact for black.
Right. So let's keep going.
Yeah.
took.
We
For
took.
some reason, he decided to take, and usually you take with the
Take with the
bishop here.
bishop, yeah.
But notice how there's not much, e4 is like a rock here, but if black can arrange the d5 push, that would be nice, but it's a little early.
I think is
Yeah.
playable here with the idea of e5. And
Maybe you got it. Let's see what he did. He played king b1. Always
only more conservative.
yeah, it's like when you play a move like that, it's good. It gets your king out of the
It's a
C
waiting
file,
one.
but it also could give away a little opportunity.
King b1 was really necessary.
Queen E1.
Queen e1, has a threat, and I don't think the king being on the c file is a problem.
Let's
just
see
yet.
if we tried queen e1.
Yeah. I think I've seen that move before.
Yeah, it still looks interesting for sure. I'm trying not to look at the chess engine. I want to think for myself, but it's good to look here. White's
It's
still
always good
okay
to
here.
think for yourself. I mean, Bobby Fischer did it, before computers came about.
So king b1 was played, and the computer still likes white. In fact, even more than it did after queen e1. But we don't know.
I guess
Too early.
eventually you
Yeah.
have to play king b1 to get off the c file. It's usually
Right. See that
an
rook
idea
bearing
to
down?
not have
It's
your
nice to
king on
do.
the same file as the rook.
Yep.
So,
So here we go. Bishop e7 finally develops his bishop. Now it's very interesting, yeah. Okay, so h4, there he goes. He's starting to realize he's getting ready for when the black king may castle to get his
I could
pawns
start
forward.
pushing the pawns. If Black could play h5 here to hold back g4.
Right. This is always an interesting idea to play h5 to stop this juggernaut of pawns.
Yeah, it'd be a good move here, even though it leaves white permanently on g5 with his bishop.
And also may make it not too easy to castle kingside because that pawn would be undefended, maybe.
Could play g6 and overprotect. I mean, the pawn is really not hanging.
Right.
Because the white's pawn on f3. So
But he played b5.
black is going for the counterattack.
And now bishop d3, adding, so now if the pawn comes forward to b4, the knight can curl back to e2 and
you're
head
not
over to the
blocking
king
bishop
side.
because the bishop is already developed and your rooks are connected. So I guess bishop d3 makes a little
So this
sense
is an
here.
interesting move. Look, he develops his bishop, and now he says, go ahead, come forward with your pawns. I'm just going to swing my knight around.
Sure.
So,
Knight e2 and then knight d4.
so now let's see. Oh, is that it? So now we can go to some other games, perhaps. So let's see what happened here. Yep, let's check out on board 2. We have Andrew Tang, another grandmaster.
And he's got the white pieces.
White pieces against our stalwart New York master, Tyrell
Oh, he's
Harriet.
playing Tyrell. Oh, wow.
Tyrell Harriet.
Tyrell is, he didn't play his usual Dutch defense. Well, it's good to know that Tyrell is switching it up and doing different openings. What's that, comments?
All right, so let's take a look here.
Yeah.
Yes, good. We have some comments and we'll get to them soon. So let's see. Let's go back and look at this a little bit. All right. So
Yeah,
Andrew
I'm
Tang
gonna
plays
see
d4, d5.
Bishop f4. Oh, bishop f4. That kind of discourages the Dutch defense
Oh, he plays the Dutch, huh?
because Tyrell loves to play the Dutch and he loves to play the Stonewall. I played him a million times.
And if he
but-
played the normal Dutch here, how would this refute it? And obviously,
doesn't-
White's
It doesn't make any
controls of dark
sense
squares.
with the
Doesn't
white
make any
bishop
sense.
on f4 already,
Yep.
controlling the e5 square.
Yeah, and also blocks in his own bishops. It's,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think against other moves, the Dutch would work.
All right, let's see what
But
happens
against
here.
bishop f4,
E6.
they just played knight f6.
He would have just played knight f6 first, a
Quick
little
C-
less committal.
And
right?
quick c5.
Yeah, knight f6. That's what I do against the London system. You can wait on e6, play a quick c5.
A game against Tang once in a team tournament right before the pandemic
Yes.
started. And I believe I played an early c5 and with a knight f6, and I was able to put my bishop on g4 when his knight came to f3.
Yeah, for instance, when you
I
play
was-
this instead,
Yeah.
you're still leaving your option of your bishop to come out. What,
Yeah.
what is this? Hold on.
What's the board here?
Yeah, something happened here. Sorry, technical.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, things keep popping up. Yeah, I wasn't, but it just keeps popping. Okay, so, and then we're saying if something like this now, you can play a quick
Play
C5,
C5 here.
and you can anticipate.
Yeah, and I think
And,
knight D2 is a move here.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah,
and then I'm
because,
playing knight C6.
right, or C3.
And if knight F3, then bishop G4. And I've had this a number of times.
Me
and
too.
I was very comfortable with
Yeah,
black.
black is very comfortable.
Pieces are coming out, and
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, it's a game, but it's.
Yeah, I would
can't really
definitely
speak of a
not
white
play
advantage.
F5, and I guess Tyrell kind of figured that out.
So after E6, okay, E3.
I don't like
Knight
knight E7, though. I would just put the
Wow,
knight.
definitely taking his opponent out of book.
Yeah, but knight belongs on F6 here.
Right, because now it takes 2 moves to get it developed, and
Yeah,
that slows
it's
down.
blocking the bishop, too. So I really frown upon this move. For
Yeah.
that.
I mean, now we go, okay, it attacked the bishop, but he
the
can.
bishop can run back to G3, and what's the
now
knight really
bishop
doing
E7.
on G6? The knight doesn't have a
And
lot
now
of
he's
skill.
already going after
Yeah.
the knight. Now, let's say black tried to stop that with H5.
That would just make the H pawn a target.
Yep, but how would you capitalize? Bishop E2 or something?
Maybe bishop E2, and then move the knight away, and suddenly you're going to win the H. Well, actually,
Maybe
the
not,
white's
but
H
still.
pawn is hanging too, but the
Yeah.
problem is if black ever castles, the H
Yeah.
pawn is going to be a big liability.
Yes.
And yeah,
Yes, let's go back.
I
So
don't
let's
like
see
the
what
knight on G6.
So he decided to castle and
castled
put his
into
knight
it.
temporarily on
Yeah,
H8.
that was not
No.
a good idea. I would have held off on castling for sure.
Yeah, this sort of looks almost like a blitz game strategy a little bit. From
I mean,
black.
he's castling into white's intended attack. I mean, white castle at all. I mean, you know,
So
so
B4 immediately trying to crack some stuff open here. C5 is considered question mark.
this is black going to do. Black needs some kind of activity, but yeah, it
Yeah,
is
it's
risky. I
tough.
mean, the knight on H8 is just out of the game. So
It's really tough to play without a piece.
yeah, I mean, maybe C6 is better, and just try to
Maybe to
keep
play
it.
F5 and knight F7.
That's what he should have done. He likes to play F5 anyway, so, and put the knight on F7 for what it's worth. But I guess C4 is kind
one
of
of the variations of the
discouraging.
computer says that. But
Yeah.
it still gives white a healthy
Yeah, it's
advantage
still,
over a
you know,
point.
white striking at the D5 pawn, so that kind of makes it a little hard to play F5.
Now, sometimes engines are great, but then again, engines don't always play the way humans play. So
I
if you
didn't
get
use engines to write my book.
Exactly.
Although my co-author, I think, contributed some engine stuff to
right,
some of
because
the
sometimes
annotations.
engines say you got a huge plus, but a human can't figure out how because it's too complex.
Fashion, you know?
Yeah.
I have the human touch.
Yeah, and that
You know?
because you get that positional skill that a computer can teach. So here we go, 5.
Yes, I do.
And here we go. Knight C3. See, white is going, I have an extra piece in play here.
And the D5
That you
pawn
take.
could suddenly be a big target because the knight is not on F6, which would have defended it. Instead, it's on H8, where and it leaves what the black center more vulnerable to attack. So that's important. You know.
Yes, and whoever said in their comments that there's already a big advantage in this
Yeah.
game between Lynn and Harriet is correct. This is, now look in the center here on the pawns on D4, D5, C4, C5. This is pawn tension, right?
Yeah,
Pawn tension. And
probably
notice how-
black's pawn should be on C6, trying to hold the center and
Right.
keep
But
it more
yeah.
blockaded because,
Yeah, like
blowing
back is
open the
square.
center, that's got to benefit white with his better pieces.
But notice how white just wants black to take and help him develop. They're just playing a waiting game here. Now let's see what happens. He finally, and white will decide, most likely take with a pawn, but he might take with a piece. He decides to take with a knight. This knight could fly in. Look at the bishop bearing down on C7.
Knight of D4 is very powerful.
I mean,
here.
it's such an unusual position. You can play slightly unusual moves with the knight on H8.
Maybe black should just take on C4 and help white develop another piece, but at
Yeah,
least you,
and then play
you
E5 or
won't have
something.
an isolated D pawn because otherwise black's going to end up with an isolated D pawn.
All right,
It's gonna
and
be
I know
very
we're
hard to
taking a
do.
while to get to other games, folks, but we're just trying to explain to everybody here. We'll get to them. Believe me, there's plenty of time. So here we go. Now we got to go. So here we are. Black's move. looks like a rough position for black.
I would take on c4. I don't want to do it. I don't want to help white develop, but
Right.
I don't want a weak pawn structure either.
So if you would take on c4, I would take back.
Yeah, I take back, and then maybe, I don't know, knight d7. I mean, you got to be careful. You can't play 6 because of bishop b8 followed by knight c6, maybe.
I see your idea about knight d7, just, but then again, knight
It's hard for black
b5,
to
knight
develop.
b5 could come
So
if
maybe
knight
black has to
d7. Look
play
at that.
a6. Maybe a6
a6
is
right
the
now.
best
What a
move.
shame to have to play that.
Yeah, but you gotta stop knight b5. Knight b5 and knight c7 might be a threat.
I'll tell you one thing. If white tries to get some massive pressure here and sacrifices, that's when the knight comes into making sense there, protecting f7.
The problem with knight d7 is that white might be able to play a move like bishop e6 and, win a ton of material.
I'll give you one thing for Master Harriet. He's got certainly a unique style.
Tyrell loves
Very odd.
Tyrell loves certain positions, but sometimes he goes overboard to try to get it. But you can't always get what you want, and you got to be more flexible. You got to,
But one thing, you're going to get an unusual position. You're not going to have any
Yeah,
memorized win. It's over, Mr.
Tyrell
Harriet.
is definitely unusual,
Yeah.
but always a dangerous player.
So let's see. Now let's go back to check out another board. And what do we have any comments here? Bortnick caught Mr. I will checkmate your soul is one of our watchers. He says, Bortnick caught Mr. Aditya Das in a well-known trap in the Najdorf.
Wow.
We'll have to check it out. Let's look it up here.
I'm not a Najdorf player, but when I was a kid, I used to play the
Mirkola
Najdorf.
Bortnick is a very strong international
Oh,
master.
boy, is he ever. He should be a grandmaster.
And it's funny, I made a draw with him in DC after I drew Corrales. Very tough game.
Yeah,
and
he's
he
a
was a
tough
very good
guy.
sport, too. It's funny, often the strongest players are the best sportsmen,
I played Bortnick in the recent international tournament out in Long Island City that Alexander Ostrovsky and
Yes. Well, look at his
Keith
rating.
Espinoza organized. And
He's number 25-36 right now. He was even higher when I played him, but he's
yeah, Bortnick should be a GM for sure.
So watch this. His brother is a strong grandmaster.
Oh, yeah, I saw, he plays in the title Tuesday a lot.
So let's look. We have a few moves to look at. The Najdorf Sicilian is played. We're going to see a little difference. This here, just like the Corrales game, but A6.
Yeah.
What Black is doing is he's provocative, but he's saying, I'm not going to let you put a piece on B5. I'm going to decide where to, I'm not committing my knight yet to D7 or C6.
It's one of those popular Sicilian variations and time tested.
Bobby Fischer and Kasparov's favorite
Oh,
weapon.
yeah, a lot of great players play the Najdorf. Even Najdorf himself played the Najdorf.
And the sharpest line, Bishop
Yeah,
B5.
Bishop
Let's see what
G5 is
happens here.
definitely the sharpest line.
F4, not F3 here, going right for the throat. Bishop E7, Queen F3.
Knight D7, I think, is played.
Queen
Queen
C7.
C7, all right.
Now, according to
Stop Bishop C4,
there
yeah.
was a blunder here or a trap somebody fell into. So, is this the trap position? Let's see. G4. Okay, the idea is to
And now
take
I
on
think
F6 and play
B5 is
G5.
playable here. Najdorf.
H6 is this. H6 is okay, and now take. Oh, he had to
Took with
take
the knight,
with
yeah, I
the
think you got to take.
bishop.
Knight takes.
But after knight takes, this was the trap he fell into. H4, exclamation point. Interesting. So he's basically threatening G5.
G5 is coming, and you can't stop it
And
because
it's gonna
Black
open
cannot
the
play
H file.
G5 himself.
And this is what happens when you delay developing your pieces with the Najdorf and
Yeah.
don't know your business really well.
Yeah, there's some crazy lines where Black could actually play G5, but I guess this isn't one of them because G5 is quite impossible.
Yeah, and that's what H4 stopped. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Now G5 just as a pawn.
B5 is played. That's the normal. But take a look at the open F3, H, A8
Yeah.
diagonal. The queen on F3 and the rook on A8. The question is usually when you play E5, the bishop attacks the
Bishop,
queen. But let's see
yeah,
what
that-
happens here. He goes G5. Knight moves, because obviously he doesn't want to take if he were to take here,
Yeah, that's dangerous, opening up the
then the
H-file
H-file
like that.
opens up, and this game is
And
just
then Black
about
has to
done.
trade rooks, and then
H takes,
White will have a path
and
to
he
the
has
king.
to play rook takes
Yeah, you
rook,
got to take the rook. You don't want to play knight H7 and pin yourself.
or you lose the rook,
Yeah.
and he takes back. And now the knight has to go home,
And then G6 could blow you open.
and yeah, it's looking
Yeah,
really bad. 'Cause look,
G6
for instance, a
looks
move like this,
crushing.
bam,
Yeah,
and
just-
you see, look at the E6 square. It's undermining that
Yeah,
square.
that's
So
a
if the
big-
pawn takes, I know a lot of you know this, but we're showing it anyway.
Yeah.
Then
knight
this
takes,
knight
it's
just
all
comes
over.
right in, and
And the
this
other
is
knight
just
coming to D5.
perfect position. Okay, we're going back.
And the roof caves in, as it were. You don't want to open it up.
So he played back,
But G6 can happen anyway.
and now G6 anyway.
Yeah.
You see that? That's what you call a typical shot.
Yeah, it looks
When
like
Black
White's just winning the game already.
This is the danger of it.
What happened?
Oh, yeah. Great, sure. Yeah. So, okay. So he does this because he realized here's what he's doing. He's trying to hang tough now. He's going to try to beat back this attack. But White usually has to sacrifice something to get an attack like this, right? But he didn't have to here.
No, you could even take and.
So he did this to defend the E6 square there with the bishop. And now take, rook there. Okay.
Yeah, it just looks so great for White.
All right, guys. So here, let's go. And we'll get to. Okay, let's see.
The game.
Do we want to say hi to Mr. Das? We say hi to him? Okay. Okay, we won't big, but next time he'll come back. He'll come back next game.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
Yeah,
Next time.
yeah. So,
Still 5 more games.
and so here we go. B4, counterattack. That's one of the good things you can do in the Najdorf. Immediately attacking the center. He comes back with the knight. He's got plenty of time. If only this bishop had been on B7 already.
Yeah.
But now it looks like,
Well, now Bishop B7 loses to Rook
he's still
D7
thinking. He's still
and
thinking.
Knight E6, so you can't.
Oh, God. Wow, that's good to see.
Yeah,
So
very
Jay
important.
noticed that if the normal guy plays bishop b7, if now there's a combination here winning the game, winning the queen, or winning everything else.
Just winning the house.
This is the move that Jay showed. Everybody
Yep.
probably sees it. Rook takes g7
Yep.
check.
Game
These are
over.
moves that shock you because you make all these logical moves, protect this, do that, and all of a sudden, bam. This shows that the position's really bad when you have a move like
Yeah.
this. He takes it,
Undermining.
and then splat. You see that? And the knight says fork to the queen,
Yeah.
and rook
And
says
the
fork you.
And the game is over.
And the game, well, he could keep going, but it would
Yeah,
be
but that would be very rude.
Okay, so let's go back a second. We'll come back to this. And now let's go to Kamrakulov. Jurabek Kamrakulov, a very strong, I believe, Kazakh grandmaster.
He's
Right?
is he from Kazakhstan?
I think so.
Or
Uzbek?
Uzbekistan.
I didn't know. Maybe you know. Anyway,
think
let's
he's
see.
from Uzbekistan.
Here, Kamrakulov is black. So, look, the Rolls Royce of chess openings, D5.
Oh yeah, time tested. I mean, after 100-something years, even more than that. I mean, so all the best players in the world are doing that, and they're all
Right.
playing E5 against E4. Everybody wants space in their face. They don't want to, they want to hold their own in the
And
center.
as you know, the first round of a tournament can often be, quote, a bloodbath. Because this is, right now we have half the players are above master here, like 30 players, many grandmasters. But there are a lot of players very low rated. So who made it in on a qualification system. So in the first round, you often have a mismatch because what they do is they pair the top player against the top of the bottom half.
Yeah, that's what a Swiss
So,
system is.
and the middle player against the lowest player. So, and then winners will play winners every round, and
Yeah.
losers will play losers.
Yeah, and the first
drawers
round
will
always
play
in the
drawers.
snap. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So it's not always, you see upsets, and that's the exciting thing. So let's take a look here.
Yeah.
I often like to play, and many players play the Queen's Gambit
Yes, you
decline.
could decline or accept. In
Sorry,
this
this
case-
is the Rolls Royce chess opening. Probably the most common, if you had to choose one opening played in more World Championship matches, if there was one, was probably the Queen's Gambit declined, if you counted all the
You
matches.
could also play the Slav, which is C6 instead
Correct.
of E6. You
Correct.
could protect your D pawn with that pawn.
Right, but that slows down development a little bit more.
Well, it gives you the option of developing your queen bishop, which would otherwise be a bad bishop.
True.
You know, I mean, I used to play knight D2 here after C6.
All right. Oh, yeah, after C6, you would
Yeah,
play,
the most popular move is knight C3, but there are other moves.
you
and
would play knight BD2?
I was playing knight on B to D2
Yeah.
for a while, and now I've been playing queen B3, but the main line is knight C3.
Yes,
You know,
right.
but
We won't go
the-
too far into it.
Yeah,
for
the
now.
Slav-
They might be on another board.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what happens. So he took the Gambit
This
accepted.
is the Queen's Gambit accepted.
And for all of you who have seen the Queen's Gambit on TV, that's
You could
this is
accept
the
or
most
decline
famous
a gambit.
meme. Yeah, so let's go E3, immediately targeting the C4 pawn, solidifying your center. E6, he's not worried about protecting his pawn.
It's very
If
hard
he
to
tries to
protect that
protect the
pawn.
pawn,
Yeah, it's very dangerous.
it loosens the whole board. I think you can
Yeah.
play a lot of moves here. One of them is A4.
A4 is the most popular, and you can
And
play
if
B4.
if A6 immediately, bam, you're
no
losing the
good.
rook
Yeah,
on
that's
A8.
no
You
good.
can't
Yeah.
take it back. Look at the rooks, right? But if you play C6, how would you
Then you
destroy this?
take and B3, and you're going to win the pawn back no matter
See
what.
this is what Jay notices, B3.
And
And the
now,
whole idea is if he takes here, you throw in
yeah.
check.
Probably the sharpest way after B3 is to play A5, and it takes B4.
Right.
You know, they
He's
get
saying
two
you play
connected pair
A5,
pawns. I mean,
take
white
it,
gets the
and
center.
at least keep him blocked up with
Yeah,
this.
this
Yeah.
is a sharp line, and could lead to a lot of
Okay, so
dynamic-
let's look at what happened. He did this. We took back. He played A6, castles, knight D7, queen E2, C5, chipping at the center, hoping we take it. We don't.
Yeah, we
We
don't.
play rook D1, putting pressure where the queen is. I call this shadowing the opponent's queen. Queen C7, of course, he's out of the shadow. Bishop B3, well,
Interesting.
something happened there.
You could also play A4 if you're really worried about B5.
Yes, this was common in older games a lot,
Yeah,
moves like
A4,
A4. you know.
stopping.
I think that's a good move here.
Yeah,
There's no knight coming to B4.
the black getting a roller coaster of pawns on the queen side.
But instead he comes back, and after bishop D6, the top grandmaster played bishop D6 here. Just see, he's got no nonsense. Get your pieces out. Knight BD2, B5, there he goes with your roller.
He put the knight on C3 instead of D2. I don't know where the knight's going. From
A4, will C4 come next? No, he just defends his B pawn twice, right? From the queen and pawn. And now knight F1.
It's just allowing black to take over the center. The E4 square would probably
Yes.
be under black's control.
After bishop B7?
Yeah, and black will have a comfortable game. I don't like the knight.
Right, bishop B7 is playable here.
Is white going to develop his queen bishop?
Notice how the stronger player, the grandmaster, just follows the general principles here, really well. Just
I would have
controlling.
been putting my knight on C3 and trying to go for an early D5 break.
Yeah,
That would have been a little more accurate.
yeah, I'm liking white here. Just a knight F1 walk looks a little odd in
Yeah,
this
knight
position.
F1 is very passive. I'm already liking black here.
All right, let's go back to some other boards. Since I know we have not gone to a lot of games yet, so let's see what's going on. There are a lot of strong players in this tournament. So we saw Mr. Dawson. It's looking pretty bad here. Here
Yeah, in
we
fact,
are.
that game is over because they.
But we're 15 minutes behind, so we don't. It's okay. Yeah, I thought too, exactly.
Sorry
So he
about
attacked
that.
the rook, attacked the queen, he came over here,
Rook's on G8.
and now he's actually possibly threatening queen takes G7 along with pawn takes knight, no?
Yeah,
I don't know.
And even Queen G6, that might even be stronger. It's going to be mate.
We'll get back to it because we still haven't looked at other games. So that will be over soon. See, that was a quick blast out. It's already over. So
Yeah.
almost, but we'll see what it is because we're 15-minute delayed. It's very important that we're on a bit of a delay.
Okay.
So here we go. Now let's go back and see how this started out. This is Akash Meduri versus Nico Chasin. Chasin is one of the top players.
Chasin's really improved a lot.
He's 24,
He made a
44
GM
PD.
norm recently, and he's an IM already, and
Okay, Akash Meduri is 2100 player against Nico Chasin 2500, and supposedly he's got a huge edge. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see what happened. It looked like, okay, G3, this is a standard English, which I played a lot. You're controlling the white squares, your king is safe. Chasin with solid, normal development. Knight D5, I believe this is a move,
yep.
and a good move, because if knight takes knight, pawn takes knight.
Yeah, and white would have a space
Gaining
there.
time and space. Bishop C5 probably makes sense.
So E3.
E3, yep. Play knight E2 or knight F3. Castle. There's a lot of theory here.
Yeah, you
I think
could
white's a
play
little better in
knight
these
E2,
positions,
you
but he
could
has to
play
go, yep.
A3, you know.
Knight takes.
It has
Knight B4. This looks, I mean, the idea is knight D3 check. But wait, D4, right?
well, D4 you take, and if knight takes, you take with the bishop, and you got to take with the pawn. And I don't know if white really wants that. I mean,
Castle.
yeah,
My.
just so, well, I guess knight D3, you take the bishop and helps white develop, so I guess white's not afraid of
And if you
knight
take with the
D3.
pawn, you have an isolated pawn, is that it?
Yeah, you know, and, I mean, you have the bishop pair, but maybe white doesn't want the isolated pawn.
So D4, so white decided to just castle, allowing knight D3, which may just sit there doing nothing, is that it?
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to take the bishop and help white develop?
Well, the
I mean,
computer
that's-
gives white almost a point advantage after
Oh,
D4.
really? Oh,
Yeah. Let's see what happens
I
here.
stand
Just check it out.
corrected.
No, I mean, it might change its assessment very soon. So let's say take,
Well, you could play pawn takes immediately. That's another thing you could do.
D takes D4.
Okay, so keep the pieces on.
And now it
Chase the
seems
knight
to like
away.
white a lot, no matter what. but
Yeah,
that's
because
just,
the knight's going to get
knight's going to get
thrown
hit
back to A6.
Yeah, I'm starting, I sort of like the imposing nature of white's
Pawn takes immediately is much
even though
better,
they're doubled.
Yeah, because white's controlling a lot of space.
Right, because after, let's say, he
The
pulls it
knight on
back,
B4 is
A-
hung out to dry.
no, E3.
Has to go back
I mean,
to
where's
A6.
that knight going?
Yeah,
Exactly.
back to A6.
So that's a nice opportunity, perhaps, missed. It's pretty obvious. So he just casually said, I'm not messing with that. But now knight D3 is okay. It's actually a decent move. He didn't do it. He played C6.
I guess that was the point.
He doesn't want to mess with white's center.
Play knight C3.
He didn't. Now he plays
All right.
D4. Still likes it. Take. E takes. Bishop E7.
Play knight C3 now.
That, you like to play a move like D6 sometimes, but it doesn't work. here.
D6.
Not
nah,
here.
it's not worth
Not
it.
here. Not here.
It looks
In
good,
some,
but
in some positions, when you can get a doubled pawn there, it's good.
yeah, it's tempting to try to slow black's development down, but black is kind of solid, and I definitely like knight C3 better.
Bishop F6, they give it a blunder, and they say that, wow, that's surprising,
Yeah.
because now they say D6 would give a huge
Yeah.
advantage to white.
But should still play D6. What else?
Right?
Oh, D6 for white.
Yeah. See?
Oh, that's a good point.
What's,
How's black going to develop here?
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean-
goodness.
This is a big opportunity, looks like possibly missed by Mr. Maduri. But maybe he's still doing great with his own move. Who knows? So, So they give D6 or knight takes D5 as better moves. You should take that pawn, but even though he ends up with a sort of slightly worse structure.
Yeah.
D6 is a decent move.
D6 immediately is probably the best.
This, right? Yeah, he's got to start getting developed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So instead, after bishop F6, D6, but that's not what was played.
That's too bad. Bishop F4 maybe?
Hold on.
That's a candidate.
Oh, sorry. Let's go back. We're back there. Oh, was it played? Great. Oh, let's see. Maybe it was played. He did it. Beautiful. Queen B6. A3. Not bad.
Well, now if you take on D5, the pawn on D6 will suddenly be attacked by the queen. So,
Nope, because bishop takes D5 followed by bishop F4 would cement it.
Yeah, I mean, you could give up that pawn on B2 because black will be...
Knight E2. Oh, and this
I don't
turned
like
out to
that
not
move.
be a good move.
No,
If
I
you
would-
instead go
I would
bishop
have taken on D5.
Bishop
for sure.
D5. Look what you've done to the opponent's bishop on C8.
Yeah.
Look at that piece.
D2 's
And then you
terrible.
give us, so what? You give away the D4 pawn. The D5, look
Yeah.
at this. Oh,
Yeah, I would definitely...
well, there was some Eastern game called goop pegs where pawns are considered like a peg in your throat or a bone in your throat.
This is definitely a bone in your
Yeah.
throat, and no pun
mean-
intended. They didn't name that after me. You know.
There was some game about goat pegs, and some Grandmaster Neil McDonald compared pawns to goat pegs when they're doing this kind of destruction.
Yeah,
I mean,
pawn on
black-
D6 is like cutting you in half, and that bishop on C8 is never going to see the light of day. And
So here's a variation that the computer gives. What do you think? Queen takes B2,
yeah,
knight takes,
you have to B pawn with your queen.
right, knight, but then you're getting the D pawn too. Queen takes D4, but you're playing without a piece here,
Yeah, pretty much.
or two pieces. So even here, they're liking, you
You could
know,
probably go into the ending and just win because
you could, they even like Queen H5 better.
Yeah.
They like Queen
You could
H3.
play Rook C1 immediately. That's you could play Knight E7 check. That's
Mr. Midori, it's easy for us to criticize, I know. Just the fact that you got such a great position was just a good thing about how you play it. Says a good thing about your play. It's too bad though. Let's see. So let's see what happens. So really, that bishop is that position would do it. Let's see what happened. Instead, he played Knight E2.
Yeah, I don't like Knight E2.
And now after they say Rook E8 is better here for black. A5. Still like,
I guess
and then Queen D3, another move that the computer doesn't like. What do you think?
like Queen D3 at all.
Or
Like Knight E2.
even you could have admit you made a mistake and take on D5 maybe.
Yeah, take on D5 and
mean-
play Knight F4 and
Yeah.
try to. Pawn on D6 is hanging.
Though the computer likes H4 or Rook E1 or Rook B1.
Makes sense. I mean, Rook B1 overprotects the B pawn, so you could develop your Queen Bishop somewhere, and Rook E1
But after Queen
puts a Rook
D3,
on the half open
A4,
file.
and then they give a bad move for, yeah. I see what
Yeah, I
you mean.
don't like A4. I mean, I don't like Queen D3. Maybe the idea
Wow.
is Bishop
This is-
D2.
This is showing how you can outplay a very strong player with the English opening, you know? So here we are, this is the
Pressure
position
on
now.
D5,
And right
and you
now,
just took it
according
in.
to this, White still has a nice game here.
A nicer game if we took on D5.
Oh wait, now we have someone saying, Kim Chipapi says, I am Brewing Hardaway's greatest fan. So why don't we take a look?
I disagree. I could say that I am Brewington
really?
Hardaway's greatest fan. I also taught Brewington for a bit back in 2019. And so I'm a big fan.
So,
Thank you very much.
All right. Whoever said that, Miss Kim Chipapi, you have maybe even a greater fan here if that's
So
possible.
I'm a big Brewington fan too.
All right, so let's find Brewington Hardaway's game. Hardaway's been
Okay.
Hardaway
The
has
subject of Brewington.
been go back and see it from the Brewington Hardaway, one of Jay's former protege students, is still a very young man.
Yes, he's 14 years old, and he made his IM title, and now he has a Grandmaster norm on top of that.
Wow, that's
very impressive.
Very impressive, and he seems like a nice young man.
He's a very nice young man.
Yeah, I'd like to get to know him better. So let's see, we got E4, he plays, going out against Jessica Regum.
He's playing Jessica Regum.
I think she once played in a U.S. Women's, maybe long ago. I'm not sure.
Long ago. She used to play at the Marshall a lot a number of years ago.
I remember her name, and when I first announced the Mona Karff Memorial, she was playing in that. And she had the last round game against Irina Krush.
Yes, so she could have stopped her,
Well, she could have tied her, or I think it's still Irina was so far ahead, but still, she made it to board one.
Irina had a draw and just win the thing outright, but she went for the sweep instead.
Oh, by the way, we should say, Fool's Mate says, I plan on joining the Marshall Club in the next couple of weeks.
Well, good luck.
No, hold on. I'm terrible, but can't wait for OTB play.
Hey, we accept all terrible players. We're an equal opportunity club. You don't have to be a grandmaster or a master to join. You could be, well, we'll call you like a novice or a beginner.
So here we go. I used to play G6 every game, and I studied with Chernin in Budapest. I have a win over Nakamura from like 25 years ago in the Budapest International Round Robin. But I have to say, I don't believe in it anymore, but it's still playable by far. It's just, not one of the golden moves to give you a better. The best lines lead to an advantage for white, not an equal position.
We hardly play G6 against C4 anymore. I like to transpose into a Pierce by playing knight C6 on the first move.
And here we have the classical variation.
Yeah, okay, that's what I like to go for.
Yeah. But A4, stopping B5, or gaining queen space, knight F6, okay. Yep. Bishop E2, simple development. I've got a better center. What are you going to do? Castles. Bishop G4 is a move to trade the piece off, but...
Yeah, Bishop G4, or even Queen C7, not committing...
E5, okay.
I guess that's pretty standard.
Would be here, H3, I don't know what it is. Yeah, that's what he did, all right. Okay. Bishop E3 is next. Maybe Rook E8 is here for... Yeah, what else is he going to do? Yeah. But still...
Oh, you don't want to play Bishop E3 yet, because the E1 has to be tended to.
Yes.
Black wants to take on E4, so I guess that's the point of Rook E1.
Oh, let me answer something. Someone wrote, the white player at the first table is in fact a new national master. Somehow the profile has been linked to a low-rated player who has a similar name. Are you sure? Because maybe his FIDE rating is 1400 and he's a U.S. master. That's what we thought, because a lot of people have that going on now. And FIDE is changing the rules right now to get rid of this horrible discrepancy.
Yes, I guess that should be addressed.
I'm not sure if you're right or not, Mr. Crispy Chicken, or is it
Crispy Chicken?
XP Chicken. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds delicious. I think I'll order some.
I'm thinking about it right now. So,
unfortunately, Sammy's went out of business.
And somebody wrote, Zodiac Destroy, I wish you well. That might be Brewington Hardaway, because it was the other.
Who was that?
She wrote, Zodiac Destroy, I wish you well. And I think that was Brewington Hardaway's greatest fan, so maybe it's Brewington's nickname. I don't know. I'm saying too much here anyway. Okay, here we go. Bishop F wants to control the center, but
and it overprotects
they like
D
takes E5 here or D5 as better moves, but
I don't like D5. I wouldn't want to commit to that. I want to keep the tension a little
longer.
If
you take and then you play Bishop E3, you're all developed really well. So if you take on E5.
You could play Queen E7 and then try to put the knight on C5, so...
Well, now, all of a sudden, it likes black after Bishop F1.
Really?
Yep, after this move.
Oh, because you get to attack the E1.
And now, actually, well, that's okay. I'd like knight E5, but this is,
I guess you can't play Queen F3 because you could play knight takes E4 anyway, and the knight on D4 is hanging, so...
He's got counterplay.
And I don't want to play F3 because...
Bishop G5.
Yeah.
And now H6 should probably be played just to say declare yourself.
Bishop pair, yeah.
He takes it. All right, that's the bishop pair.
Yeah.
And here we go. So, in exchange for a weak d-pawn and a slight space
Yeah,
disadvantage.
the two bishops.
He has two bishops. Black has two bishops. And
The
two
knight on
bishops.
c5 looks pretty good.
In a normal open position, two bishops are suddenly worth
Yeah.
a point more. So, bishops are worth, let's say, 3.25 points each, but they're worth
Yeah.
like 6.5. No, worth like 7 points if you have two bishops. Depends on the position.
It's an open board
Yeah.
too, so I would favor the bishops here. So
Even Jay, who's famous for only
I'm a knight
favoring
man,
knights.
but I don't think I would be happy with White's position here. I mean, the knight on d4 is being threatened, by the way. So
I'm not sure if it was Brian Hulse, former national Marshall Chess Club champion himself, who said to play Jay, you have to trade his knights off to get rid of his
he's not
knights.
who said
Yeah.
that. I mean, the late Larry Tamarkin, may he rest in peace, he used to say the very same thing, and he used to even try to trade off all my knights when we would play, but I would end up beating my bishops.
I wasn't afraid. I remember a draw I had with you when I had two bishops and you had two knights. And
I love
you
my
held the
knights,
balance, but my
but
bishops were still better.
yeah, sometimes I must admit I love my knights so much that sometimes I would have them in the wrong positions where the bishops are favored. I guess that's something I have to overcome, even after all the games I played.
And now at A5, a space gainer is here for black. Could be good to hold on to space.
After knight f3,
Right.
yeah, black
Yeah.
would play a5.
He did it. He did it.
And it bolsters up the knight on c5.
And I said he did it. It's Jessica who
Jessica did it,
did it.
yeah.
Not he.
That's right.
Well, that's impressive. Jessica Regan is holding her own here.
Yeah, I like her
Rook
position.
E3 is played.
Yeah.
And now, wow, computer likes H5. And now she's thinking.
Yeah, h5 with the idea of bishop h6.
Jessica
Very good
Regan
idea.
has a better position
Yeah, I
here.
like black here, for sure.
Okay, we have a lot. This could be an upset, but it's a long way from the end.
It's a
Long way from the end. This is not yet an upset. This
Jessica's
is a game.
good here.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on this game.
All right, so we still haven't seen some of these other
Yeah,
games.
there's a lot of
We should
goodies
take a
out
look
there.
at the final denouement or climax of game of Aditya Das, who, by the way, Aditya Das, he had a win over me. It was like 2050.
Yeah,
I
he's
said,
a
"Who's this
much
kid?"
improved.
And within a month, before the tournament was over, he was 2,200.
Yes, he broke 2,200.
So I was like, all right, I'm not losing as many points.
when I last played him,
so-
he was an A player. and
He became a master
he
very
really
quickly.
developed quickly.
He,
I mean,
he went from 2010 to 2,200 in a month and a half. But then he dropped back a little. We always get a little arrogant when we make it to master. We tend to drop.
well, there's always some people, they make master and then they quit because they love having that 2,200 rating on their mantle. But it's important to keep playing and prove that you're a master rather
Yeah,
than
what I did
getting that rating and then stopping because you got it. And
when I made master, when I wasn't master yet, I was 2192. I told people, hey, I'm a master. And then I lost like 65 rating points.
it's going to happen,
Yeah. So,
But you keep going and you get it back. You got to not be discouraged by a loss or two. It's part of the game.
yeah, but some people make it and that's enough for them. It's too hard, the tension and the time invested, so, but then it shows, why are they really playing? Just to get that or to enjoy the game?
Losing is a part of the game. You could learn something from it. I mean, I've learned a lot from my losses, and I've even taken some of my losses and I've turned them into wins by simply copying the way that my opponent beat me.
I should listen to you more.
Yeah.
That's why God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? So I realize I'm learning a lot from this guy right now.
It's a game, and it's a microcosm of life. And in life, you're going to have successes and disappointments, and it kind of balances out.
And you have to roll with the punches.
Exactly. If
And,
you have
yeah.
a disappointment, you learn from it and you move on.
Yeah.
That's a part of life.
And I remember Belyavsky said, how did you keep going? He goes like, just handle the vicissitudes, handle the ups and downs.
Absolutely. You have to, because that's life.
So here we go. Better than the guys who jump out the window, some of these grandmasters, right? You got to put it in perspective.
Yeah, I think Limbaugh you know, from,
And others, was it
yeah,
Pillsbury?
other
even, who was sick?
grandmasters, yeah, and
There was an
even
article
local
about it.
players like Roy Irvin, isn't it? Didn't Roy
There's an
Irvin?
article about it called The Jump, about the amazing amount of chess masters that had jumped out windows.
Yeah.
Not the amazing amount, but a certain amount of manic depressive players. And
Yeah.
it was by Sosonko, that writer who writes a lot about.
It's interesting
Usually,
case is
yeah.
Peter Winston. You know, he's presumed to be dead. He was a young American talent, but he seems to have disappeared off
But he
the face of
disappeared,
the
so we
earth.
don't know what happened.
Nobody really knows, even
Right,
if
so
he
it's
is dead. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, Peter, I remember, and that's before my time. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
Reading about it.
I was in the last tournament that he played in where he went 0-9. It was a futurity in 1978 that Bill Goitzberg ran. And
Somebody wrote me here, wait, while you're saying this, said, upset, never doubt Brewington. So I get what you mean. I'm not saying it's a long way to go. Long way to go. Black has an advantage. It doesn't mean they're going to win.
find his way out, but at the
'Cause you're
moment
right, I mean,
he looks to be in some
Just
slight
because you're at a
trouble.
disadvantage doesn't mean you can't fight back.
I mean, he's not totally
Yeah.
lost. He's,
Not at all.
you know, I mean, Jessica has to.
Excellent. So what we got here? Here
bring
we
it
go.
home.
Bishop there,
Yeah.
Queen G3. Oh, it keeps moving to the side. That's interesting. Queen
Now
G6.
walks into mate.
And now he resigned
Yeah, because
because,
it's mate next move.
yes, this
Oh
was
my
the
God.
DOS game against.
You know, Black probably had to play G6 there, but
I'm losing the players' names on this board. I don't see the names anymore. Yeah. DOS versus Bortnik. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Maybe it's
Aditya
too big.
Das has a bright future. You know, this is obviously a disappointment for him, but he will rebound and,
Oh, yeah. Besides, he's playing,
Yeah, taking
a
on the-
very strong player, and this is good experience. See these guys and just get,
oh yeah,
you
you have to.
sit across the board from them.
That's how
not
you
on
get
the big
better.
screen
You got
on a
to play
computer.
these guys, win or lose. You know, you could get beaten up, but you learn a few things, and eventually you start winning. And
Now I'm having trouble seeing the whole page. Just let's a technical issue.
oh yeah, something.
Something's happened where I only get part of the boards. Everything was working a little while ago. Peter Winston, somebody put his thing, died in January 1978.
Oh, he did die?
I thought they never found him.
Really, that's actually documented that he died. That's always been a big question. I would love to hear some more back from people out there who might have known him. And
See what we got here. All right, let's see. Good, I can look at it all down here, but it's very small. Here we got
time.
Hoffman versus Jurabek. Let's see if we got a new game here. So that game's over, but Bortnik got a win. He's headed home to probably or have a beer or just go home and relax and prepare for the next game.
He's
Let's
probably
look
gonna go
at
home
our
and-
women's champion, Irina Krush, versus
yes.
the youngest competitor in the
Oh, wow.
tournament, I believe. His name is, let's see. Oh, the name has disappeared again on this board. Yeah, but, okay. Maybe we should take a timeout to do a technical glitch. Technical
Chen
repair.
Swan Ling, who's rated 2112. And how old is he? 9 years
9
old?
years old.
That is amazing.
Chang Xuan Ling, correct. Cheng Xuan Ling.
This kid will probably
from
be a
Westchester, where I'm
grandmaster in a few years.
And right now, he's getting a really rough position against Irina Krush, and let's see how Irina did
It
it.
was probably some kind of Queen's
E4,
Gambit.
it's moving to the side. Has any idea what's happening? We're having a little technical issue. All right, maybe
Oh,
we
it's
should
a
try.
new-
Maybe we should try for a light chess then again.
Oh, Irina's white here.
All right, E3. This is the Nimzo Indian
Nimzo Indian,
defense.
yep.
Black stops the move E4 for white by playing a
Absolutely.
pin on the knight.
Very
Whereas the
popular
other
move.
way you could stop it would be play the Queen's Gambit decline
Exactly.
with D5.
You could also play C5, you know, challenging the center that way, but I wouldn't recommend it. If you want to play a Benoni,
Yes.
it's better to do it against white
Right.
playing
In other
knight
words,
F3.
Jay might play this, but then you have to allow
I used to
space
do
advantage.
that, yeah, and there's too many good lines for
But
white.
this is a way to stop the move.
Yeah.
It's simple. You want to stop white from owning the center.
Yeah, right.
And there are only two ways to do that. One is this, and the other is this.
Yep.
And it's not rocket science at this point.
That's right. You got to make moves that contest the center.
Yeah,
Very
so
important.
black is off to a decent start here. Black is Qingyuan Lang. So e3 says, all right, I don't have to control e4. You've got a bishop there, you may give it up for my knight.
So,
after cash-
E3.
Bishop d2,
I don't-
all right, d5, knight
Prefer
e3, just
bishop D2.
taking him out of a main book, I think. Because a kid usually knows his opening lines very well, so Irina's playing something that's not so mainstream. And sure enough, already white has a development edge and a central control edge. Castle, bishop b7, queen e2. Normal piece development, knight d7. Is a3 coming or not? Rook c1?
Play rook on f to d1.
You read her mind. Just shadowing the queen, as we say again, because if ever a break like c5 is played, well, we try.
I mean, a3 is also possible, and also
Yeah.
rook on a to c1 is a
But yeah, why
natural
not wait?
looking move. They all.
And besides, when you leave an unprotected bishop there, maybe something fun will happen.
True, there might be some tactical shot. I mean, you don't have to play a3. I mean,
Right. I always think when someone has an unprotected piece, you never know what may happen with that. You
just
leave it there.
develop a piece. I mean,
So
rook
after queen e7 protects it.
getting out of the way as well.
A3 now says he take, and now the two bishop is
I
reached.
would have gone bishop d6. I don't
Right,
like
bishop
taking.
d6.
You know, now
Jay would have kept the bishop, yeah.
yeah,
sure.
now I realize the bishop here. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yes, and now we're just looking a little bit. Wow. So Jay is saying after A3,
just play
perhaps
bishop d6.
bishop D6. That's what Jay would have played. And
Then
yeah,
Irina might have played knight b5.
knight B5, it wins the bishop pair anyway.
Even better, we could play e4.
E4, trying to
trying
hammer it
get some
down.
space.
But then, of course,
black plays
E5,
e5. So
so maybe not,
maybe
right?
e4 would
So maybe knight B5. And it's worth the tempo because you didn't lose the tempo.
to the bishop that way.
Remember the
Bishop
game
on
Zucker
d2
toward
suddenly
Blackburn?
gets into the game.
Remember the game Zucker-Torque-Blackburn, famous game that sort of had this move? Well, it's a game I show a lot of my students, a beautiful game. You win the bishop pair.
I guess if Irina gets that bishop,
So
she could.
she takes, so he gains time, but he loses control. Now, is bishop going to E1 here to preserve the bishops? Yes.
Absolutely.
So she preserves her two bishops and could get ready to kick that knight off
Yeah.
E4 by moving her other knight away. Let's see what happens. C5,
Playing f3.
knight E5, preparing F3, which would
Yeah,
kick
knight
the
e5
knight away.
works too. Knight e5.
Take. Ooh. However, knight,
Probably put a rook on the d file. Or,
rook FD8. I see what you mean.
Yeah,
Or
develop-
knight, move the other knight to F6, so take. But that gives a huge advantage now. It walks into a shot. There was a shot here.
knight d7.
No. After takes, bishop B4, skewering.
Oops. Oh my God, I didn't see that. So that's
And
just
now,
winning material.
You know, the beauty of that is we call that an in-between move.
yeah.
Usually, when you capture, you expect your opponent to automatically recapture. But a good player, all you aspiring
right.
players
Good
out there,
luck.
just says, wait every move. Maybe there's something better than a routine recapture.
Bishop b4 is winning material.
And look at that. However, she couldn't block with a knight and answer D takes with A5.
That's right.
So D6, I would go to A5. I would go to C5, sorry. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, knight
If the
C5,
pawn takes,
E
you're
takes
losing the
D4.
piece.
A5,
You could take the knight with the pawn, and then you have c6.
Yep.
If knight e5, you
Yep.
play c
Yep.
d7.
It works
Two
anyway.
Pieces are
God,
attacked.
it works anyway, right?
You're
You
winning a
just play-
piece.
Go.
Yep.
Ouch.
Yeah, ouch is because when you
So-
take on b7, you're hitting the rook on a8, so you're
Oof.
going to win material.
Beautiful.
So
So I've just thought one move ahead for a sec, it's just a
bishop
bad.
b4. is
That's
just
what, when you
winning
got someone like
material.
Arena doesn't make you see. So now he just goes here, but that's a tender square. I say rook takes D4 now, right?
You could also play knight
Knight
takes
takes
d7,
D7. Oh.
and then rook takes d4.
I think that's what he
And
did.
that just wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's winning a piece here.
And now this game is, I guess you could say, lost its interest.
So you,
Let's see what happened. Well, nobody made a move. Maybe it's over.
yeah, this is pretty long.
All right. So it was easy to make a routine capture, and that's a good lesson for our young player, and he'll be back, in fact. And now what's interesting is Jay is the oldest player in the tournament, and but he's not at heart.
No, I'm a kid at heart. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up.
And by the way, this is
Because I'm
chess.
basically a big kid, you know?
This is chess, not athletic. So there have been cases, like we say, Sammy Reshevsky winning. Jay has won a lot of tournaments just recently, so Jay is going to go tomorrow. We can try and figure out who he's going to play while we watch this anyway. So, okay, that's that. Now we'll go back and we'll take a look now at catch up on what's going on. Should we see a game we haven't seen yet? Liam Putnam's game?
Oh, yeah, another one of my
Chloe Gao,
former students.
who
and
is
he's doing very well for himself. He's almost an international master.
Right, he's 2,400 against 2,000
Yeah,
player
broke
Chloe Gao.
2,400.
And Chloe was a good participant in
Yeah,
the
Chloe
women's
is
tournament.
a
That's what
rapidly
earned her a
improving
spot.
player.
And here we go, another Nimzo
Another
Indian.
Nimzo, very popular opening.
If
And
he's sitting next to Irina, he might be looking at her and saying, I'll do what she does. No.
that's, well, you never know.
Right. Nope, already different. We got here, knight F3.
And
Just
this, oh,
see if-
B6, okay, yeah.
Oh, they all want to play this bishop D2 move.
Yeah, I never liked Bishop
Knight,
E2, but it
didn't think
seems
he
to
had
work. It
yeah.
develops a piece, and
Brought it back without losing time, but
Yeah.
without gave a tempo up in bringing
Yeah.
the bishop back.
yeah,
So
I don't
now,
like that move.
yeah, like white now has an extra move.
Yeah.
So here we go, rook D1. Yeah, that's what I learned from
This
that.
is almost like that other game, and now if Black plays knight C6. I think knight D7 would be better, and it would have transposed to that other game.
And now what? E4? No.
No,
I
I
don't
don't like E4
A3.
because maybe knight G4,
You're right. You're right.
knight
No, no, yeah,
E5.
of course. A3. No. Played. A3 was played.
Rook on A to C, maybe. Oh,
Now. Oh.
yeah, I don't like B4.
Wow. They didn't
like
give us.
bishop
this
D6,
is supposed to be- We're just catching up on moves here.
Now white could play knight B5, right? And just take
Yeah. There's
that
something
bishop
wrong
off.
with this. There's something wrong.
Do we
I
have
mean,
the right position?
I don't know. Let's go back and
Gotta
see.
go back.
Let's go back and see the Liam Putnam game and see what the position is. This, we do have the right position.
What is the right position? So why can't white play knight B5?
Yeah, I
here?
mean, he can. He doesn't win a piece immediately, but it wins something.
But it wins the two bishops.
Yeah.
Actually, it does win material.
What was wrong with bishop E7 instead of D6? I mean,
Nothing.
nothing.
In fact, knight B5 seems to be winning material because after queen moves, knight takes bishop, you could play B5 and then bishop B4 just
So
the
we're
same.
saying
We echo of the
look,
arena game.
look, bishop E7, not saving the two bishops is a much better move
Much
according
better
to computer.
move.
It
Bishop
gives the
E-
position really close.
Yeah, bishop D6 is a big mistake.
Wow, so
It appears
move
that
it here, allowing the trade of knight for
it
bishop. And,
appears that
yeah.
well, Liam is black here, so
Yeah.
he's a big.
Well, I
player.
hope we have the right moves. We
He's
probably
playing
do.
Clo Gloire.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like Clo is just winning material immediately after knight B5,
Yep, queen
and then knight
E7,
D6, and then
Knight D2,
B5, and
B5.
then bishop B4, right?
Ooh.
I mean, is there something I'm overlooking?
Yeah, I see. It's the same shot that.
Yeah,
almost
it's
the
kind
same
of a
idea in
weird
the other
echo
game.
of Irina's game with bishop B4.
If this is the
coming in.
exact position, look at this. We just looked at this with
Yeah, here's that knight
Queen
B5.
E7.
Unless
Knight
there's something
takes,
I'm overlooking.
Queen takes just B5.
Yeah.
And after the knight moves, bishop B4, the same shot.
Yeah, we don't care about knight F3 check because we take back with the pawn.
Nimzo Indian with E3, same move,
And
bishop
you're winning
B4.
the exchange. Yeah, it's really weird coincidence.
Yeah,
You know?
great minds think alike.
I don't know about that, but pretty close to that. It's just a weird echo. You know?
All right, well, let's see
Yeah,
what happened.
apparently
Anyway,
Liam-
let's go back and,
Yeah.
well, hold on, we'll just peek. Well, she hasn't yet, but it's waiting there to be played, so that's exciting, right?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, we'll go back and see how, no, we'll get back a little. So, and Jessica, of Bloomington Hardaway's game.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird, I don't see the clocks. So
Still like the same
we're
position we
looking at
saw last time.
H5, idea bishop H6 here, right? With a
Yeah,
good
so
skewering bishops, right?
you mean all this time they didn't make any moves? I
No,
find
it
that
doesn't
hard to
make
believe.
sense. Maybe, so we'll see. We'll have to check with the technical technique. Yeah? Yeah.
What
Oh, okay,
happened?
sure. Let's take a short break, right? We've been going at it a lot, right? What time is it? We'll be right with you guys. Should we stop for a second?
Yeah, maybe it would be a good time to hit the head.
Yeah, we're taking a little pause.
The pause that refreshes.
Welcome back. Here
We're
we are
back.
after our break. International Master Jay Bonin, FIDE Master Nathan Resica at your service here with the Marshall Chess Club Championship, or you could call it the unofficial New York City Championship of
That's
Chess.
probably a good analogy because there really hasn't been a New York City championship in a very long time.
Yes, and there's no Manhattan Chess Club. It used to be a rivalry, but
Yeah.
now there's no doubt really that this is the strongest tournament for a city championship. And
It's
so
certainly
Marshall-
run a long time, since 1916.
The only thing is it's 6 rounds instead of its usual 9. So
Yeah.
perhaps not as many rounds for the full cream to rise to the top, but
In
still
an
decent.
earlier era, it was
Yeah.
6 rounds, and in an earlier era, they even had round robins. I remember in 1984, it was a long round robin that lasted over like 4 months. I won that one, beating out Andy Soltis. But that was a marathon. you
Yeah.
know.
The thing about the round robin, then there's no doubt who's the superior player because you all played each other. You know?
Yeah, I guess there are advantages and disadvantages to a round robin. Nowadays, a round robin would be impossible. Too many
Yes.
people,
I mean,
are worthy of playing. So I think the Swiss system will be now and forever.
yeah, but when I went to Budapest, that's where I got to play those, and that was a great experience to play these round robins. Because also here, some players they do badly and they just go, "Oh, I'll drop out and play the next tournament." But in a round robin,
Yeah, you cannot
must
drop out.
you must finish. So you
Yeah.
have to take your losses, and if you have a rough tournament, you're just going to have to deal with it and learn. So it's a lot. It makes you. It sort of builds your toughness more than the Swiss system tournaments, I think.
Yeah, I remember in one of these tournaments, somebody dropped out and killed my chances for a norm. And
Me too. Same thing.
yeah.
I won the tournament, but it turned out I didn't get a norm.
Yeah, I was short
Yeah.
a player for a norm because that player dropped out. So very important to stay in.
Yeah, so here we go. Let's see. It turned out Fidel Corrales Jimenez, the great Cuban #1 seed, playing against a 2200, 400 points below him, is black here. I thought he had been white, so I was misinformed or I made my own mistake. Probably my own mistake. So here we go. We're going to look at the game and this, what's going on? I mean, there's a lot more moves here and they're not being made. I don't understand. There's a lot more moves in this Corrales game, so something is wrong. I mean, this game far into the end game. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Great. Let's take a look. It's still not moving.
Still not moving.
So we
There's
got to
something
get,
wrong.
I've got to get the technician to show this.
Yeah, this is a very important game because we could be seeing an upset in the making here.
Yeah. There's about 25 moves made and we can't find them. I went downstairs, the game's almost over. Yeah,
There's a 15-minute delay.
Oh.
That
that's right.
Still
But still,
delay.
I'm sure that's all because it still looks like the opening here and they're all the way in the end game now. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be great. Okay, sorry. Okay, maybe it's a
There's other
delay.
games to explore.
Yeah, let's look at some other games. So hopefully it's not a,
Yeah.
let's see what we got here. Let's look at this positional
This
squeeze
is
that,
Tyrell Harriet,
that Tyrell Harriet with the knight on.
the knight on H8.
Okay, got to scroll down, right. Okay. And we'll start this game up. Still, I can't even move through it without it popping up. Really weird. Okay, remember this? We looked at this. Yes. So we're getting on and we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
I'm not liking C5 for black, but
Oh, and so he finally got him. And now he just got him in the,
it's looks like a squeeze.
yep, it's a big squeeze. And if, oh yeah, H6, so he's ready to can open, G6. C takes D5. Knight B4, trying to get frisky here. I guess he was afraid of.
Oh, he was
both-
hoping.
yeah.
Yeah. He's hoping for Queen D4, Knight C2.
By the way, let's see, what was he planning? Here, the idea. After H6, he was saying maybe I can play a6 to win the bishop. And this is obviously losing because of the king will be shattered or something, but how would this be destroyed? Probably just take on g7.
Yeah, that might be a good start.
And
you're
then queen
hitting the
g4
knight.
checker? No, and queen h5. Queen h5.
Yeah, queen h5.
So this would just be destroyed. He wouldn't have to move
you don't have time for
b5 knight. You have to make here, and this would be game over.
You're gonna get
king
maybe
takes g7.
queen h5 is
queen h5.
curtains.
Yeah, this queen. Now you see, when you are able to disconnect the pawns covering the opponent's king, they become very weak. And this is one of the elements of chess. I always tell my students, we have 5 elements. We have material. Everyone understands that. You're up a queen, right?
That's right.
Space. Pawns gain you space. Time, getting your pieces out quicker. Pawn structure, which we're seeing here.
Yeah, in this case, the pawn structure is Swiss cheese.
And that's called king safety, shattering the king's fortress.
Cover is definitely destroyed.
It's like going into Marie Antoinette's castle or whatever and shattering the whole
the
porch to
emperor
it.
is losing his clothes.
Yeah.
You don't want that to happen.
So here we go. G6 is played to avoid that shattering. Now and now still he takes, and now he can't take back because the other knight takes in its place.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
So
he sneaks out. He's trying to flip out here and sneak out. Tyrell's a sneaky player.
He's trying to win material.
So let's see what happens. Bishop A5.
Yeah, the bishop gets out of the way and attacks the knight.
The knight. Where's it going? Oh, big deal. Take. Now, knight C7. Oh.
Yeah, crunch.
Well, I guess the answer is if B6, knight takes D5.
Exactly. That's
in other
one
words,
of the
if
points.
he says, trapping your knight, not knight takes rook. When pawn takes bishop, traps the knight. Do you see? Exactly. But knight takes pawn.
And the game is over.
The threat is to fork the king and queen.
The roof is collapsing.
Good night, sweet king.
Bishop is coming to C3 and queen is coming to D4.
So now that's the position. And
H8.
this is really bad now. It looks like
this is over.
Tyrell will live to fight tomorrow, I think.
Yeah. Tomorrow's another day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Back to the drawing board. And, well, started with the knight going to E7 and it landed on H8, and that's not a good place for a knight to be. It doesn't, help your development, and it certainly doesn't help with the safety of your king. So
I hope eventually we see some action in the Corrales game.
yeah, I would love to see more
because we're still
what
in the
about
opening
the other
here.
games? What about Pressman? What about Burlington? I'm really curious about Burlington.
All right, let's go to Brewington and see how that's developed. And
Because I kind of didn't like his position. Oh,
see what happened.
Yeah.
So after this, I think Bishop H6 is a good move, but she didn't play it. She played D5.
sure.
No, sorry. Yeah, I don't know about Bishop H6.
Yeah, Rook F3 maybe, but
Yeah, so what's good here? The engine likes Queen D4.
yeah,
The engine likes Bishop E6.
there's a lot of good moves for black that are simple.
D5 is trying to open the position, but usually you open the position, you have to be better developed. I'm not
It
sure.
might help, yeah, it might help to develop more pieces. I mean, you could always play a move like Bishop D7, and then play Rook E7 and double rooks on the E file.
That's another interesting way.
If nothing else, but
So instead, D is played, and all of a sudden,
too soon.
black's advantage slips a little.
Yeah,
after this.
that's probably the move that was overlooked, and now
Queen D8,
black has an isolated D pawn.
but still retains some pressure.
I think I'm starting to like white a little better now. There's no reason to create this weakness.
Interesting. If knight takes D5, queen can't take. That's beautiful.
Oh, because of
'cause
Bishop
he's-
C4.
Yeah. Look at this.
It's two pieces for the rook.
Oh, okay, 2P, you're right. It's
But
can
still,
take it, but it's still really sharp and interesting, right?
Yeah.
Maybe rook takes F7, I don't know.
F7, you just move the
Probably
king out
bishop
of the
takes
way.
F7 check for sure.
Yeah, probably bishop F7, take on E8.
This is definitely kind of
That's probably
unclear.
giving great stuff. You know, really convinced about taking on D5.
It's the engine's first choice.
Really?
Yeah.
It's probably not a very good engine.
You're a good point. Could be. Let's see what we got here. Okay, back to
What do I
Brewington
say? Take human bites?
meeting.
Don't always
Trying
rely
for
on
too
the
much?
engine.
Brewington Horse. Look again. Let's see what happened. All right, here we are. Oh, he hasn't moved yet.
Yeah, Burlington's
Okay.
position, in my opinion, improved, but I don't know about knight takes D5.
The only move it gives, it says black is slightly better by, but it says it still likes black a little bit here, even after the only moves it's considering are bishop b5 or knight takes d5.
Even a position, I mean, looking at other,
What are you looking at?
but maybe black. I was looking at some crazy moves like even rook a3, kind of bizarre looking. I want to move my knight off of c3, but I
But
don't want
bishop
to hang the
b5 at least
b2
would
pawn.
win one of those two bishops back, right?
Huh?
Bishop b5 would at least win one of those two bishops, probably force bishop d7, or you don't have to play it.
Yeah, bishop e5 is a possibility, but black could also play rook e7, kind of play around that.
Interesting,
But
yeah.
then maybe knight f1, going after the d pawn. I guess black's idea is to play d4 at some point.
He played knight b3.
Okay.
Here we go. We finally see some actual action here, and it really doesn't like this move.
No, because you take and then you play d4, and black suddenly has a passed d pawn supported by the bishop pair. Yeah.
Jessica Regum is really getting us some
I
opportunities here.
think Burlington might be in trouble.
That gives us a chance to gash the pawn structure, play d4, two bishops running amok.
You could also play knight e4. That's an alternative. And if knight d5, you could play bishop e2. So
Wow.
you don't have to play
Wow,
knight
very
b3.
interesting.
But
Yeah.
knight b3 followed by d4, or even
So you're
bishop
saying she
e6
could play
first.
knight takes,
And even a
takes.
move like bishop e6,
and your reflex of bishop e6 is good, but you also like
you could
d4.
play d4. That's natural. It's suddenly looking better for black. That isolated d pawn is
Yeah,
suddenly,
d4.
you
And now your bishop is flexibly developed wherever this
so
knight
this
moves.
actually happened.
No, we're looking at a variation, but now we see the power of those bishops.
Yeah, the
And-
passed pawn supported by the bishop pair.
Let's say if knight b5, right?
Well, it looks pretty over there, but it's really
just-
not shooting
just
at
play
anything.
bishop.
Here I would play bishop f. Well, actually, bishop f5 is possible. Bishop e6 is possible.
Do you reckon for the sacrifice ever of rook takes f5 followed by queen
maybe it'd be
h5
better
might
just
not be
put the
good to
bishop
allow
on
that?
e6.
Because look, if this happened, this could happen.
Yeah.
And now look at the white squared
White
bishop.
get a little bit of
and you
play
get
on
a
the
little
white
play here.
squares. Yeah, I would put the
I mean, it's
bishop
still,
on
no
e6.
wait, it's still good for a, no, you got to play bishop
Definitely
d3 here. This
bishop
is better to
e6
play
better,
bishop
yeah.
d3, yeah.
Give black the edge and, set
Yeah.
the position.
But still, bishop e6 is solid. And you can put a rook on c8 maybe, or,
Yeah, you complete your development
and also bishop to d5 maybe, yeah.
yeah, you could do that. And, it's just a question of how you're going to get that d pawn home, but
Yep,
the
nice.
knight on b5 looks pretty, but it's really not going anywhere. And
Oh, let's see what happened, or let's,
definitely
we'll
start with
go
knight
here.
b3, but I would give consideration to knight e4.
she did
as well.
it, she took.
She did take.
Yeah, she
okay.
took on
Yep.
b3,
Yeah.
and she's thinking, that's good.
Yep.
All right, let's go see some other games.
Yeah.
Deal with.
We're definitely starting to like black.
Okay. And at some point, I will take a quick jump downstairs to see how the Corrales game is going, because
it's a
Corrales is down in exchange,
Yeah.
in a rook and bishop versus rook, with also down a pawn. And he had some traps But the last I looked down there, it's getting simpler and simpler. So he may,
Really wait to see,
what?
what happened.
Okay, we'll see soon. I believe we're hearing from a telex spy that, that I think we have a source that has said that the game is over and that number one seed has lost in the first round.
Unbelievable.
Now, the great thing about a six-rounder is, I've done it before. I lost a first round and won the next five.
You could come
and
back.
won the tournament. But this is a great victory for Young. And his
I'm
name
in a
isn't
tournament out in, gave up a loss and a draw, but I still have a chance to tie for first with a couple of rounds to go. There's always,
So Brian
in
Lynn,
a tournament, there's always hope.
2201,
That's an
has
awesome
be
upset.
defeated Grandmaster Fidel Corrales Jimenez, 2604, in a stunning upset in round one
Yeah,
of the
and I'm-
dramatic Marshall Chess Club Championship.
I'd love to see the moves before.
And we will have to see some of that game when we can. So, stunning upset by Brian Lynn on board one. Of course, he's a master. He's 2201, and he shows a master can. I was told when I became you can beat anyone in the world if you're a master. Of course, now they don't say that.
Game 45 is a couple of weeks ago.
Yes. Speaking of that, let's see if we can. Pressman is playing downstairs, a very strong senior master from Westchester, and
I always joke
he's
with
playing
him. I call him
downstairs.
Grandmaster Pressman because
Oh,
I'm
okay.
actually trying to encourage him to get the Grandmaster title. So for years I've been calling him Grandmaster Pressman, and and maybe one day my prophecy will be correct. But
All right. So what should we look at? Should we check Hoffman's game with Jurabek?
oh yeah, we haven't looked
Yeah,
at
we haven't looked at
Durabek's
that.
game yet.
Okay, so-
Durabek is another
I believe the
major
Kazakh
player in this
Grandmaster-
tournament.
Yes, Jurabek Kamrakulov.
A recent club champion, and
And let's go and see a couple of these moves. We saw before that he played the very solid Rolls Royce of openings, right? The Queen's Gambit. He chose the Queen's Gambit, accepted. And now look, we've got the classic development of the rooks. White is playing very solid too.
Yeah, White's playing a little too solid and a little passive too. I did not like the maneuver knight d2 to f1 to g3.
Yeah.
The knight on g3 really isn't doing anything, and the bishop on d2 is very passive. So
Right now you see a little bit more space for black.
yeah, I
You
mean
see-
White obviously completed his development, but I would
Plus
have
you
to.
see the bishop on b3.
Yeah.
It's kind of in an exposed position.
Yeah, they're all
It's
in awkward
unprotected.
positions. Black's pieces
Yeah.
just coordinate better.
Yeah.
So I would have to give the edge to black here, even though material is equal,
I agree with you. So he black with the bishop, and he's just certainly able to improve his position,
A little
aiming towards
bit,
the king.
but,
At least he's getting his pieces aiming toward the king
Yeah.
side. But now b4.
This position, it might be playable because even though the c4 square is weakened,
c4 could be played next, maybe.
yeah, and bishop a6 could happen, and c4 could happen, getting a queenside pawn majority. I mean,
By the way, it probably wouldn't make sense to. Oh, yeah.
maybe White has to take
Well,
on
you could
c5.
almost take on f3 and try to win a pawn on d4, but you're walking into a discovery.
Yeah,
That would give up your bishops.
be greedy like
Yeah.
that, and we don't want to give up that beautiful
I know,
bishop
exactly.
from b7
Exactly.
just to win a
Then you got
pawn.
two bishops here, would be a big mistake.
White's rook on the d file might suddenly come alive, and all those. Oh, that's what he.
I don't know if this happened. I'm just wondering what's going on. Did it really happen?
No.
Did it hear me talking? Because I don't think. Does this really happen? Let's go back. Sorry.
That's amazing if it did happen.
Because I just said it and we were just saying probably
Yeah,
not a
and
good.
I don't.
Oh my God,
apparently
it
it did
happened.
happen. Oh,
You
my
really went for
goodness.
that hot pawn and
Just
gave
to
up
win a
his two beats?
pawn.
So it
I
really,
guess-
the computer did not like.
I guess black is still okay, even though.
Yeah, it likes knight e4 here. It doesn't like bishop e3.
All right, so black won a pawn, but
Yeah.
is it worth giving up?
He said it was, but bishop e3 wasn't the right follow.
I
The
mean, white
computer
might
liked,
be able to do something with that white
the
square
computer
bishop.
like this. You see?
Oh, instead of. Oh, instead of moving the bishop, play
Yeah.
that.
And now you're hitting the bishop on d6.
And you're also
And-
trying to get the bishop in the game, and you're trying to remove one of the defenders from Black's king.
It says the game's a little closer now.
Yeah, even though Black's up a pawn, suddenly White's
Like, look, take.
position is getting a little more peace activity.
Yeah. But even though it does allow trades, though, and that's what he doesn't
Yeah.
want, but if rook takes c1,
Well, if you could get to the king and pawn ending, then you're smart. But there's, what do they say?
it's
The
still-
gods have placed
Yeah.
the middle game before the ending.
but black still does have this pawn here, So black has an edge. It goes bishop e3, queen e5, bishop d4, queen f4.
Yeah, I would love
Queen
to trade
E2,
queens. So.
Bishop e5, bishop e3,
That's
queen
right.
h4, bishop b1. Here we are in the live position. And
So what to do now?
Grandmaster
How do we
Kombrakolov
improve?
is having to convert his pawn advantage, however.
Well, a good place to start might be if h5. Yeah, maybe h5. I mean, I thought it loses a pawn, but the h2 is hanging.
But I see you give yourself a little breathing room with that move, too.
Yeah, h5 not only makes lift, it could allow for moves like, well, you can't play knight g4 yet because the knight on d7 is hanging. You might have to address that problem.
Right.
But still, h5 making lift, that might be
You
a
like
good place
this, and
to
it's an interesting move.
Yeah.
If your queen were somewhere else, you could play h4, but
Yeah, but the idea is simply a waiting move, make lift, and eventually knight g4 could
what are
happen.
you going to do?
know.
You're saying to him, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean,
How does
a
white
bad
improve?
yeah, you can't do that. Terrible sacrifice would be rook takes knight in order to get the h pawn.
No, rook-
Terrible move.
Yeah,
but
also
it's
you
certainly,
Black could play rook takes c1, check first, trading.
So black is still good here. No
Yeah,
matter what.
I guess I still like Black, but I would have liked Black better without winning.
Taking that pawn.
I think the idea of,
Let's go back and
activating
see.
a queenside pawn majority might have been better in the long term than just winning this pawn.
Actually, yeah, it gives, you're right. Yeah. What other moves would you consider for black here? Instead of taking and cashing in.
Bishop a6 is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Or, let's see, bishop d5 is not as good because of e4. Bishop g3, then you have
All right.
e takes
So,
d5. So, bishop a6 is probably my follow-up.
You wouldn't have chosen this, but he went and he thinks he's
Yeah, I
going to
would
grind
have
him.
not won that.
He thinks he's going to grind him in the end game.
Yeah,
and get it.
I guess.
So now we'll go back. We got, okay, Fidel Corrales lost, and we don't have the final position. We'll try to get it at some
We'll have
point.
to see
but
how it's happened because this is a big.
if we ever get
upset.
the moves, we'll see if we can get them relayed at some point. But
I would love to
if
see,
maybe we
you
can
know,
get the winner
Corrales.
for an interview.
Corrales just went down real fast.
Is Brian Lynn here? They both left because we're supposed to interview the. How about? Oh, okay, they left. All right. So let's see what we
I
got.
guess if you lost and you're upset, the last thing you want to do is
No, but
come
that's
upstairs.
Fidel. I want to interview Lynn. We're supposed to interview the winners.
I'm sure you'll get to them at a later date.
But if a stunning upset like that, it would have been good.
Yeah, it
to
should have been addressed right
That's what
away,
we, yeah.
right, rather than waiting. So
Well, we have 15-second delay, so we just.
yeah, keep forgetting that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did too. Okay, so what do we have here? Let's see what we got. Irina Krush versus, and somehow he didn't lose a piece.
That's amazing. I
What
thought it would.
happened? We thought for sure. Here, look.
Yeah, we got to look at that.
Oh, the D7 didn't work because of Queen C6, threatening mate.
Oh my
We
God!
both
How could
missed
I
that.
overlook that? Boy, I'm so retarded.
Are we just weak old codgers? to
Yeah,
do
I
some
guess
like
so.
that?
I guess I must be.
Let's not see any mean tweets there about us,
Let's
guys.
see Queen C6.
Maybe if he, so in other words, Irina maybe shouldn't have taken that on D7.
Maybe Rook D4
No.
immediately was better.
Oh
but-
my God. Look,
and then after knight
It still says it's good. So wait, there's still something in the way here. After queen c6. Oh, they still give winning huge material queen f1.
Oh, because you're pinned and you'll double rooks on the D line.
Yeah.
Oh, so after queen f1,
My God!
you're
So
just
she
winning in
wins.
exchange.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. That
Oh, what
works.
a nice move!
All right. How you been, man?
What a move!
You look happy. You must have won.
Okay, let's see what we got here. So somehow the clever young 9-year-old, the youngest player in the tournament, Cheng Xuanling, managed to avoid the loss of a piece.
That's amazing. 9
he
years old
found a
with a
really good
2100 rating. Oh, these kids they must be on steroids or something. You know, they're going to be grandmasters by the time they're 13, 14. And, you know, it's just amazing. And it
So
makes
let's
me
go-
feel older than I actually am.
All right, don't worry. Let's see. You know, you just won a bunch of tournaments over those kids. So it'll go
Well,
back and
it feels
forth.
good to still beat these kids. You know, you got to slow down their progress.
So here's
you
the
know?
position we're looking at. And she played f3 when it turned out
Queen F1.
the simple queen f1 here instead
Oh, so
would have won an
F3
exchange.
F3 is a blunder then.
Oh my.
Because
That's a class move.
but black could play knight f5 in any case, right?
I think there's something dreadfully wrong with that. Bishop b5.
Well, maybe.
If knight f5, bishop b5, where does the queen go, right? You could give, yeah, it's all bad, right?
I'm not seeing the whole board here.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
that's the
what,
problem. Yeah, that's it. We've had
Right.
a lot of problems with this. It wasn't supposed to do that every time, but it is. Okay, what do we got here?
I guess the queen
So-
has to go to c8, and then you walk into rook c1 or rook c4.
Right, and you save your exchange and take
The
his.
queen, and the queen is.
So there,
Probably, maybe you can throw in like a G4.
so it was interesting, like to think you've got, queen c6 and now f3. So that's what happened, and now the assessment is still good for white, but it's closer.
So now
So
you
let's
got
see.
to move your rook away and say, all right, so.
So our 9-year-old takes on the women's champion of New York, the Mona Karf Memorial champion, Irina Krush. And an exciting matchup.
Yeah.
Grandmaster, a legitimate grandmaster, Irina Krush, not
So
a
the,
double.
so the game goes on pretty much after rook d8. And
Yep.
well, I guess if I were white, now I would bring my bishop back to c. Oh, but if you play bishop c3, then black could play queen c5. So how do we improve the position?
Rook dc1 sets up a discovery, but not much. I mean, it's
Yeah,
normal.
maybe rook on d to
normal
c1 is the best
D to
choice.
c1. Interesting.
Yeah,
So-
just get out of the way, avoid the exchange.
yeah. Not
You know, you still keep some kind of a threat. You know, that knight on f5 is annoying. now.
Right,
you
because
can't
knight
chase it away without.
because knight
coming
takes
somewhere
e3 as a
else.
threat, right?
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
actually, you could.
yeah.
yeah,
That's a
maybe.
move.
Yeah, bishop d3
Bishop
is
d2.
probably the best move, and transfer it to e4 maybe, or
Oh, if you guys are in the audience, raise your hand if you want to give a move. Just because otherwise everyone's just going to throw up. We're doing a broadcast. Great. So let's go check another board for a little, just because there's so much action here.
yeah, it must be getting exciting now. It must be getting down to the wire here.
By the way, National Master Evan Rosenberg was playing, right? And Evan's here.
Right.
How'd you do in your game? Oh, Evan Rosenberg has won his game. And let's see. who
Evan
that was
Rosenberg
against.
was white against Joseph Otero,
Joseph Otero.
rated 1891.
Right. There's usually about almost 400 points between the players in round one, but still, no game is easy in this
Yeah,
championship.
in this case, it was like 300 and change. You see, this is what I'm talking about. You know, you can learn from your losses by copying me and using the way I beat you to beat someone else. This was exactly what I was talking about.
Okay, well,
Yes. Yep.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah.
All right.
That's one of
kids.
my favorites.
Excellent. We can't get too far into that because they're not seeing it. So what we're going to do is say grape, and you're not going to play Mr. Rosenberg tomorrow
I'm
because you
definitely
have a
not going to
half
play
point,
Mr.
and he
Rosenberg
has a full
tomorrow.
point.
That's
So we're
right.
trying
I
to
only
figure-
have a half a point while he has 1 point, so I'm safe.
Okay, so
You know,
let's see.
maybe later down the road, but
Should we check out Jessica Regum versus
yeah.
Brewington Hardaway, where
Yeah,
Regum had a good
it's
advantage?
a really interesting
And
game.
let's see what's been going on since then.
I would give Jessica a slight advantage, but
Yes. Okay, here we go. Bishop E6.
so Bishop E6 did happen. So
But we were looking at D4 as an even better move.
well,
But this
that
is
might
good.
eventually
This is good.
come. It's definitely part of the plan.
That's the whole thing, though. Rook E7, they're saying,
Yeah.
is a mistake.
Well, that is a mistake. So what should have been played? Rook F8.
Yeah.
Obviously not Bishop D7. I don't know. Rook E7 looks so natural.
No.
I think most people would have played Rook E7 instead of
But
Rook F8.
D4 was trying to be played. So now here, Rook E7, and now they're saying Rook D3, but I'm not sure what Hardaway played. He played it. And now there's no
The
way
D pawn.
we can push it, and then the knight attacks it. Is that it? I don't know. Got to push it, probably.
And then after knight E2, you're going to lose it, right? Unless black could play bishop
D7. Yeah. So the
Yeah,
advantage, big advantage for a long time, seems to have finally slipped.
Yeah, it looks
and what we
like-
were saying is if she played this right away, right, D4, we were looking at that. Then
maybe-
followed by Bishop E6 was going to be really strong.
Yeah, maybe D4 right away had to be played,
So-
but
So what happened instead was, and now here.
suddenly the broom man might be okay again.
Yep.
Because if D4, then you play knight E2, and you
Yep.
looks like you're going to win that pawn.
And let's see, what else have we seen that we haven't seen in a while? We had this positional squeeze that White had a huge edge.
Yeah.
And now Black has a huge edge in the Chasen
This is
versus
Chesson.
Midori game. Midori had a big edge. He had a chance to have that bishop stuck on C8 for almost ever.
Midori is white here.
Yeah. So here we go now.
Oh yeah.
Black's pieces have all climbed into this game.
Something went horribly wrong
Yeah.
here. After A4, suddenly black got all this activity on the queen side. Yeah. So, yeah. No, yep.
Students like Black a lot.
Yeah. What do we do with that knight on E2? Well, you got to play knight G1. That's an ugly looking move, but well,
Or Rook E1, but
Rook E1 kind of puts yourself in a quasi pin a little bit. I don't know about that. I'm looking at knight G1, but the knight doesn't seem to have
Yep,
much
and
of a
black
future,
poised-
no matter where it is. It's just a bad.
Black's poised to use the open H file soon. White can't, it's too bad White can't get that bishop out and get his other rooks over to the H file.
Question mark by the computer.
Really,
Was
it
there-
liked,
was
said
that
that there
a
was a huge edge with bishop C4.
It's true. With the
Or
idea
even
of bishop
B takes
E3
A3.
and it overprotects the knight on D5. But, yeah, bishop C4. It's
Positional improvement.
definitely.
All right, this looks like an interesting game. There are a lot of games going on. We didn't get to see the Corrales game. We just don't have the moves.
I really would love to see, moves.
Tyrell Harriet really got in some trouble with a knight on
He got
H8.
into a lot of trouble.
And now it's finally maybe coming alive. There we go.
Finally, the
But it's
knight gets
constantly-
into the game.
And it takes the rook, though. And now here, a little Zwischenzug to hold on to his piece. The queen moves. Oh, a blunder, complete blunder by White when he could have played queen D2 and held everything. Instead, he walked into this.
B6. Oops.
And B6 is a blunder. They said bishop takes G2, exclam. What?
Oh, because the queen is hanging and the bishop you take with check.
Oh
That's
my
right.
God.
Bishop takes g2. He didn't. So that didn't happen, huh?
Oh God, I hope Tyrell didn't move right
Oh
away
my
there.
God, Tyrell must be sick here.
Wow, just
Probably-
the type of blunder. Just
Wow,
walk
I didn't
in.
even see
I
that.
don't know what the time situation
Yeah,
was.
White's pieces are all overloaded.
Look at that shot.
Bishop g2 is just
Double
winning
question
the
mark
house.
in a position it looks like you're just destroying it
Yeah.
in every single way. Bishop takes g2. Now let's look at this, fans at home. Do try this at home. Bishop takes g2.
Yeah, everything.
Oh well, my queen's hanging, right? So I got to take his queen.
But then bishop takes a
Sorry, go back.
a5 check.
I guess this is really doing bad here. This computer's totally. I'm not. Nothing's working. I want to play queen takes queen, and it's not letting me. Oh, okay, it let you. Great. My fault. Bishop takes a5 check. I'm still learning this stuff. Thank you, man. Got my technician helping out immensely.
When everything is
Like a
hanging,
geriatric. Okay, now look at that.
just
It
winning the
just-
house.
You can be totally winning a position, but a chaotic position like this. And you have to really calculate well, because that's the thing about Tyrrell's style, it seems. He's got a very strange style with misplaced strange pieces all over the place. You can't count on your normal patterns. So look at this shot.
Can't be
All of a
caught
sudden,
napping, and all of a
all of a
sudden,
sudden, black is better after totally being
black is
crushed.
probably winning.
I mean, let's go back. So look, you see this after this check, he's losing his queen. He's got to play queen c3, I guess, or
Yeah,
b4.
and then you
or
end up
whatever.
losing the
So
exchange.
he ends up losing the queen back. So let's go back. So interesting.
You take on c3.
So look at this, queen c5, a double
the
question
rook on
mark. He should have
h5.
played, defended his bishop up a piece. But after a while, you're winning all this material, you'll just start counting your pieces and doing nothing and think.
Yeah,
So,
d2 is just leaving.
so he played this amazing
material.
blunder
Yeah.
and that beautiful
Tyrell-
bishop
Tyrell
g2.
Didn't see bishop takes g2.
Anybody have a comment? Want to raise their hand, say something? Yeah. Oh, would he have found bishop b4? Very possibly. Let's take a look. Bishop g2. And he keeps a cool head, of course. Yeah, of course he's not going to play. He's going to realize he blew
Oh,
it.
bishop b4.
And play bishop b4.
Oops, I didn't even see
And you're right, he still holds the edge, but not as big an edge, right? And, you know, because now at least, well, now he's still, so still he ends up, what does he do? You're right, it's still good. It's still good.
Oh, because the rook on f8 is hanging.
So he's going to lose that, but he's going to get the rook on h1. But so
Still be
yeah,
up the exchange.
yeah. So thank you. I shouldn't have. Yeah, yeah. It's still a nice shot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to see. So, and so let's see what he's got. Queen c5 mistake, and let's see what happened. b6, which is a counter mistake. And after knight takes b6, queen b7, a Zug.
Oh,
They just played knight c4, and
Exactly.
he's counting his pieces again. He's counting, now he's able to simply count his pieces. And he takes on g2, and he takes back, and he takes back, and he castles queenside. And now we have an extra rook.
Is it a whole rook? Yeah, it's a whole rook.
And I once was playing a tournament against a grandmaster.
He gives up.
And I won't say, I've got a little story, hold on. I was a master, I was playing a grandmaster, and it was the amateur team championship, a fun tournament. And I was playing for my team, and I was down a piece, but I had a pawn for it, and maybe two pawns, but not enough. And a fellow master came up to me during the game and said, "You should resign now." And I was like, first of all, he had no business coming up to me during. And he said, "You're playing a grandmaster, and you're completely dead. You should resign." And I should have given him a piece of my mind, but I just realized you never won or drew a game by resigning. Okay? No one ever won or drew a game by resigning. It was not an over.
And he shouldn't have said anything.
He shouldn't have said that. I'm not
Because he
gonna say
could have
his
been
name.
providing information to you,
I know.
you know?
So it was wrong. I think he was bitter because he had lost a game and he wanted to spread his
Yeah, he
misery.
just wanted
which
to
we all
take
know
it out.
happens at tournaments sometimes.
Just wanted to take it out
Misery
on you.
loves company, as Maestro Rosenberg is free to say. So if you have any other comments or anything, let me know. Just raise your hand. We're going to look at a comment online here. Zodiac Destroy says, silly goose. Who's he talking
Silly
about? I don't know.
goose.
Okay, they're talking about joining the Marshall. Probably a good idea. If they can fit any more players here. Can they,
That's
Miguel?
true, it is getting a little crowded in here.
Yeah, I mean, this place
What's that
was
saying
full
by
to the-
Yogi Berra? Nobody comes here anymore, it's too crowded?
Yeah, great. One of those great Yogi Berra-isms.
Yeah, I love Yogi
That
Berra.
place is so crowded, no one comes. Oh, would you like to discuss your game or not? Tyrell Harriott has showed up. We talked about it, his unorthodox style where pieces are in all strange places. And
But at
people-
least you played something
you know-
different, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know,
And-
sooner or later, you had to do something different.
Can you at least show your face for a second back here? Just poke your head, just to show. Yeah,
That's right, I guess you'll have to come.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's
So-
more room over here.
Yeah, welcome Tyrell Harriott.
Tyrell Harriott.
Solid master, life master. And we just found an amazing shot you had.
I did, right?
Yeah,
Bishop
but it
takes
wasn't good enough
G2.
to win, but it suddenly made the advantage under a point. I mean,
Take me too?
no, you
Yeah,
had to,
Bishop
no.
takes G2.
Yeah, look, just when he was complacent, this,
Yeah, but White had a
he
counter
played the
shot.
double question mark here, and you had this amazing shot. Bishop takes G2, and if Queen takes Queen, Bishop takes A5 check. The trouble is, he would
White
have
has
thought
Bishop E4.
and played this move,
Yeah.
and still been winning, but not by that much. I mean, it wouldn't be, maybe not easily winning.
At least you got your knight on H8.
But I don't know what the
game.
time
Did it
situation was.
definitely like knight f7 better?
Oh, I don't know, like,
Well, when
I know we were
What did
always
it prefer?
talking about the knight coming to F7, it just took so long.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
So
so,
like bishop e6, that's crazy. So I was bad at that.
Yeah,
So-
that knight didn't look too good for a long time.
I kept thinking that maybe I could take advantage of the fact that he didn't cancel.
oh yeah, we were just, yeah, see you soon.
Take care of him.
Bye. Oh yeah, so, we were just thinking, you just,
I think you could have played knight f6 instead
was saying,
of
yeah,
knight e7.
you're taking these guys out of book, but knight E7, it's slow, right?
The knight,
You know,
the knight
yeah.
just had nowhere to go for a long time.
Jay was complaining about knight E7 a little.
Yeah, I like
It's
knight
like-
f6 better. You know, just seemed to have more of a future there.
We were just looking at how whenever and Jay and I get this position, you just play this first. But I know everyone does it, right? And then they do whatever, and then we just quickly play this before E6. But you end up playing E6 anyway. But I've never had problems. I mean, I have lost games, but not because of the opening of it. Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah. You're right, that's a different
Why does
game.
it keep?
That's a different, because we have a lot of
Something
problems
wrong
here.
with this computer, it keeps
Jeez.
bouncing around.
Oh, man. C4.
Well,
It's-
maybe here
yeah.
you should play c6, kind of hold solid, because c5 kind of like loosened you up a bit.
I wanted to risk it there. Maybe I was wrong at it, but it was.
Probably had to hunker down and play
I
solid,
was thinking maybe.
try to get the
Open
knight
the
on
game.
h8 into the game.
Sometimes when I play a guy that's level, I say, make him beat you.
Yeah,
play
maybe
That's
then
why.
play f7, and you got your stonewall set up.
Yeah, that's the normal way.
Yeah, but c5 kind of loosened you up too much, created a lot of weaknesses.
really acting up. Maybe we should go back.
Probably,
Scroll down. Let me see what it says.
probably the best is to be solid.
All right, so, all right, well, we know you'll be back, though.
Be back.
We know
Well,
you'll
there's
be
still-
back strong.
There's still 5 more rounds to play. We're not done yet.
Yeah, I mean, 5 rounds, you can still win this thing. 5
with
rounds.
five?
Yeah,
You never know.
5 wins. I'm telling you, 5 wins.
You never know.
Tie, probably.
You could sneak through the rear door.
Anyway, we appreciate the few words and the humility.
Yeah.
You know, we all got to have that.
You'll come back stronger than ever.
What? Man,
Take
good
care,
luck.
Tyrell.
Take care, Tyrell. All right, so what do we got here? All right, let's see what we got. But the trouble is, it didn't work out. We were supposed to interview some big winners, but they left early. So
Yeah,
we gotta-
everybody. Yeah, maybe make an announcement, to come visit us before they leave.
Anyway, we're just getting started with the Twitch and the Marshall. So we've had some glitches tonight. Please forgive me for maybe complaining a little about them when I should just leave the room, maybe.
Glitch rhymes with Twitch. So
That's right.
it seems to make perfect sense.
I'm losing half the boards. I'll just go with the boards I can see, but, I have to see this list. Okay, I'll just go to the list. Okay, there we go. Let's look.
Look at the end of that Corrales game. How did he go
But
down?
I don't think we can get the last one of the Corrales game.
That's too bad because everybody wants to know. Everybody,
We got it.
you got so
We
let's
got
see.
it.
Yeah.
But can we get my chess because I can't get this board. I just can't get the whole board, no matter what I do. Just it's all part missing. Somebody's saying online, light chess so much better, but they're saying the light chess engine.
Any other comments?
Zodiac destroy. Fidel lost the game. We are recreating the game. Good. Okay. But if we can do chess, I think it's going to be better. Yeah. We're going to switch to a different format just so we can see the complete board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That,
Great technician here. He's finding a way to do it. Now we're seeing some stuff. Excellent. All right.
so this is a different.
Oh yeah, we're just going to set it up. Now we get to show you the most dramatic game so far where
Yeah, the
Fidel
major
Jimenez,
upset. The tournament has just started and already a major
a major upset, a 400-point upset in round one. And we have a good Sicilian attack against we'll see what Corrales did here, or what Mr. Lin did. So we already
Corrales
advanced the
didn't
opening
do.
moves, and we were under the impression Corrales was white, but Corrales is black, and he allows doubled pawns, which, as we said, white chose not to take.
So Corrales is black.
F3 rather than F4, like we say, a solid center, less play against it.
Protect the pawn.
Yeah.
Keep your options open for maybe G4.
Rook C8, of course, thematic. You're playing on the queen side. If black could trade queens, he would have an endgame edge in pawn structure.
I would
Two center pawns to one.
I'd like to get into the ending from any position. Just get those queens off,
You know, I love playing the Sicilian, even though I didn't start playing it until my old age, and it just makes
It's
sense.
never too late to play the Sicilian. It's probably never too late to even order a Sicilian. Are there any pizzerias open?
Yeah, it might be. You're right. In New York, you can order a Sicilian.
You can order a
anytime.
Sicilian anytime.
And now with DoorDash,
Right.
in the morning, you can get indigestion anytime you want.
It's harder for French because
All right. We're having some fun now. All right. Everyone's here. Some good players here. By the way, all right, let's see what happens. Here we go. H4. Going after the king side, but the king hasn't castled.
King hasn't castled yet.
But
so
still, find a home. Bishop D3. So we looked at this. H6 just back. Interesting. Now, interesting. You could say, why not attack the pawn, bishop again and chase it? Well, that's exactly. It leaves the D6 pawn very weak and backwards.
And the D5 square
And
be
so,
occupied.
there's less counterplay. Black's looking for ways to play.
Maybe black could play D5,
Sorry.
try to dissolve that pawn.
All right. He
Didn't play.
Wow, sacking a pawn. Corrales takes risks a lot to get counterplay and stuff, and he takes chances.
Where's the pawn sack? I don't
Oh, no, it's not a pawn sack, sorry. He maneuvers his piece, and now white is just straightforward. You're going to move your pieces around. Where are you going to put your king? I'm just going to keep my straightforward plan. That's one thing that white will do in these positions. And you thought maybe he was going to put his knight to b6 or e5. He puts it on e5. But still,
It's tempting white to give double pawns, but giving up the black squared bishop would be a big mistake, even though
Yeah.
it gives double pawns. I think the weakness on the black squares
yeah, I mean,
probably pulled out more, and white's
You know,
h pawn suddenly hanging, and that's too much to give. So you want to keep that black squared bishop.
so what do you think white should play here? Let's see what he played.
The F
Queen C defended the f pawn, and now he's not worried about a move like b4, and he's not going to play a move like a3, which would invite a move like b4 later,
It definitely invites trouble.
or even a move like d5, but not yet. We'll see. So he goes queen c7. Okay. Really, it's hard to see.
The bishop away and try to play f4. Or
He moved the knight away, repositioning the knight often goes to d4.
d4 and overprotect.
You see? Since the
C2.
knight was doing nothing on c3, really.
That's true. Good
And
idea to try to
the knight repositions itself.
Yeah.
This is common in Sicilian attacks, too. So the bishop moves back, opening the c-file, maybe wanting to take on d3 and play queen c2 check.
Yeah, we don't want to allow that.
But then again, rook c1 could hit him after that with fence down there. But we don't want to allow it, so he'll probably,
Knight
he
d4.
defended it. He played rook c1. And this
Very
is
safe.
interesting. Sometimes you say, well, you're not going to get me now.
So the other rook will probably go to d1. Not even that. Just maybe we just want to push the kingside pawns, move the bishop off of f4 and play f4 and just try to start a pawn storm here.
Right. And is he also considering, by leaving the knight on e2, maybe to play knight g3 even? And knight h5?
Knight, it's the future. Could go to d4, go to g3. The bishop moves on off of f4, then maybe the knight could go there later. It depends. I mean,
Yeah.
the knight has a lot of possibilities.
And
whereas on
you're the player to
d3
ask about knights.
Yes, I love
Because,
my knights. I'm always looking for ways to try to improve the position of my knight. But basically, it's important to try to improve all your pieces, not
Right.
just the knights.
And black looks for moves like d5 at the right time, but he's got to have a
Yeah, but
target.
it's
to play that.
dangerous. It's dangerous to
here.
open up the game with your king
Yeah,
sitting
I know,
in the
exactly.
center.
But I'm just
So,
saying, this is
we've gotta
thematic stuff.
try
So
to play
eventually,
around that.
if he doesn't castle, you're wondering how he's going to get
Yeah, how is black going to continue?
how he's going to use that h8 rook. And
Yeah.
that's a weakness. And this is starting to look like a squeeze by white right now, because white has not weakened his pawns above his king. at all.
White is definitely better developed and can just wait. Black, even though black looks solid, I mean, black still has to find ways
Yeah.
to make things happen. Maybe a move like knight c4 at some point, but eventually the rook on h8 will have to find a role.
Right. Like if the bishop could be at f6 and the knight went to c4.
The problem with bishop
get
f6
something.
is you walk into
G5.
g5,
Yeah,
so you can't do that.
Right, but you're waiting for the opportunity. But yeah, I mean, if you could play g5, you can't do that. King f8.
Maybe bishop c6 with the idea of d5, but I really don't like doing that.
But the bishop
because
just moved back there.
it's a 10, yeah.
Unless you're just moving back and forth a little to say you're running out of,
Yeah, you
ideas.
need-
You're just saying, you know how masters sometimes just move back and forth rather than commit a pawn to a weak move. So they move their pieces back and forth. But it looks like white has a plan to improve here.
Maybe black could play g6 and then put the bishop on f6, so at least if white plays g5, you can retreat the bishop back to g7.
Good point. That is a standard idea too. And there is an idea.
Like g6
And then
might be good. If white
G6.
plays g5, you could play h5, and if white plays
H5, you could play
you
G5.
g5. So, g6 might be a good way.
Yeah, G6. Did we close those? I
I
don't
just
know.
can't see too many.
Thank you, sir.
Black here, though.
Yeah. Yeah, for those of you
Very
out there, let's be,
interesting. I think White's just got more options because of the connectivity of his pieces. So,
yeah. So let's see what happened. He went 5, another standard idea to get the
Okay.
pawns moved. Okay.
Right.
Now H5 though, and no
Yeah.
longer, now G6 isn't as
That's right.
playable.
So G6, yeah, because now Black plays G5, you could just take
Take
en passant
passant.
and you win the H pawn. So it's too late now, and now White is threatening to continue with G5 possibly.
So he might have
Things
to,
up.
yeah.
So maybe Black has to play the very ugly F6, to stop G5. But,
Wait a minute.
but
if
the
he
problem with
played-
F6 is that it cuts the scope of your bishop. But maybe that's what has to be done. Because G5 is just too strong to allow, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm like,
You're going to open up the game, and with Black's king sitting in the center, suddenly,
well, the good thing is this rook is not on the D file, so
Yeah.
I'm beginning to think Black should got to look for something here. It may not be much, but
maybe
Wait a minute.
D5 now, but D5.
to tell you the truth, I'm trying not to look at the engines, and you don't either. This game
Yeah, I
looks
never
pretty
look at
close.
the
The engine
engines.
thinks it's dead even, so we're
Oh,
looking at this.
really?
Yeah, and I'm like, it's looking at Queen C5.
What about F6?
It's looking at. I'm going to close that door.
It's not even considering F6, huh?
Can you close that door?
I guess I'm too defensive-minded.
Okay, we have. All right. All right, whenever he wants, we'll go to his game. But we're still looking at a really interesting game, so let's see what happened. F is now played.
Oh, was played?
Yeah.
That was my suggestion.
Yep. And now
Well, that
rook
makes me feel
AD1, okay. B4, gain space, okay. Hanging in
Black
there.
is definitely going for an attack here, even though you don't have all your pieces
Yeah,
participating.
the white squared bishop is sitting there. That's a dodo bird. I mean, that's not a
True, the
great
bishop on D3 doesn't
And-
look very active.
So go, and at least that's why he's judging that the white squares over here aren't that weak. And the bishop came back. The knight is a rock. Maybe the idea is to play F4 here. Right.
I suggested that a long time ago to move the bishop.
So the knight came to C4 now. Now it's starting to like white. It preferred castles. The engine preferred castles here finally. And after castles, like you see,
Even though you're castling into a potential attack with F4 and G5. Yeah, maybe. I mean,
good point. Maybe you can hunker down with knight
Black could
F7
take on
or
D-
take on D3.
but taking on D3, you
And
take
then-
with the pawn.
Yeah, but then at least your rooks can face each other solidly without
Yeah.
losing, your other rooks in the game. See, that's what you got
That's
to
true.
think.
Your castle.
You're playing without that rook, so what do you got to
you
judge?
definitely got to get all the pieces in the game.
So you got to judge. You can risk it, maybe at this point. Anyway, that didn't happen. Bishop knight happened. And after take, they're liking here. So we have a player, I believe, in a game, a result has been over. And
He's
do we
going to
have
contribute his-
international master Nico Chassin? Did I say that right?
Anyways,
I'm Nathan.
Soon to
Master.
be grandmaster.
And why don't you come
You
behind
have-
us here?
You have one grandmaster, Norman. Oh, so you're almost there.
I'm getting there. I just
Well, I think you will get there. Just be patient.
Here we have.
You're young. You're
Let's
not
get you
going
behind it.
anywhere.
Move up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
you out.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Jay. Great. Behind us.
We have not been able to analyze a game together, Jay, in so long.
It's been a very long time
I know. I missed that
because I've been out of action. So we can
missed
play. Knock
Missed you.
yourself out.
Okay.
Yeah, this game was crazy. The Fidel game. What did you guys think?
Yeah, we didn't get to see it. We didn't get to see the end just yet because we finally got the moves.
You're more important.
Saw that you got out of a little jam that
Oh,
he could
yeah.
have had. Yeah.
It was really
It's like
scary.
a good English Marin type crush,
I
like
mean, it was-
positional.
Yeah, it
But
was-
you came out of it nicely.
It was a really crazy game with this G5 idea. I wasn't really sure what was going on.
So,
Oh, sure. That thing's
So
been
I
kind
knew
of in
white
my
was much
radar.
better.
Yeah, I don't want to trip over it.
Yeah, I told him after the game that D4 had to be.
right,
Yeah,
and
this
after
is where
this,
white
you're still okay. But with this mistake was bishop f6.
Yeah, I knew it was
Yeah.
a mistake. I
Yeah, white should have played d6
Then there's a way to keep him
D6,
back.
right?
Yeah,
eventually, but somehow you got out.
he did it. Oh, he
the
did
thing
it. I didn't know he found it.
So the thing is that I knew, of course, that this is lost, but I wanted a game, right? If I don't go, like, of course I can go knight takes d5, which is obviously practically the best move.
Well, actually, they're saying this.
Yeah, that only leaves
And
you
you're
with a
pretty
minor
solid.
disadvantage.
I mean,
Okay, but after d6, you can't go b takes c6, right? Because of a3.
so you're worried about
Knight
knight
take-
takes and then.
Okay, like they're gonna go knight d5, bishop f4. I mean, it's a 2-result.
Wait, okay, you were saying after d takes c6.
Yeah,
B
knight.
takes c6. What were you saying?
Now they have a3 and I lose a pawn
Yeah.
because the c6 pawn falls.
Yeah. It's compensation there.
Right.
Yeah, and you don't want to take with the knight. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Problem
ugly
is just
too.
knight d5.
I see what you mean.
Maybe that was the lesser evil. You know,
You decided to make more chaotic.
So the thing is
Position.
like in this type of tournament, you have to take risks, right? You have to play practically. I think
because
all
it's a
sides-
short tournament. so,
Exactly,
yeah.
and there's a lot of money on the line, so you want
Yeah.
to win. You have to win this
Yeah,
game.
you got to.
So you're telling me this was a practical choice?
Of course, yeah. I spent some time. Of course, I saw d6 and I said, let's have a game. Let's have some fun. Like let's create something on the board. You know.
Interesting. I'm not
And it
gonna
worked
say-
out in my favor. These are the type of decisions that are kind of hard to make.
But here, right, bishop takes d5 and bishop f4,
Yeah, I
and then
see.
it's going to be really tough to
But this is
climb.
really practically hard to play because if I do squirm out, like I actually could be okay. Like okay,
And he has to see that he's giving up those two.
Turned out you were.
exactly.
think that could work, right?
And I'm
He
going
has to
to
really,
at some point.
he has to really sense that these are going to be really bad to do that type of
Yeah,
sacrifice.
you really, that's
Yeah.
very hard for a low rated to play a lot of the times against someone
Yeah.
higher rated. They just want something simple and yeah, it's a hard
See
track
what?
to play.
He's two steps ahead of us, man. Congratulations,
Simple,
fellas.
simple
So
is
let's
the
see
way
how
to
it
go.
works.
You know?
Let's see how it
I like to be simple.
82, and that's where he went wrong right
Yeah,
away.
92 is just way too
down.
passive.
I mean, how can you not take on D5 in some
Right.
way?
If you
have to
read
do
the
something.
Marin
Yeah,
file
you
about
got now your knight on D5 is
Wait,
good.
is that 5?
Mihai Marin, volume 1, 2, and 3. It's 10 years old now.
Oh
The
my.
English
I
Open.
don't read
This is where he went
really
into all
bad.
this stuff. No, I mean, not exactly, but
I
yeah.
feel like the problem with our generation is we don't read books. We don't appreciate the classics.
Everything is on
That's the best
computer.
book on.
now.
You're right. You get a
You know,
lot
in
more.
my
You
day,
get-
it was
you
all
get-
books, you know.
But you get a lot of stuff.
And some of the books I read, they're probably not even in print anymore.
When you get to be our age, we appreciate
Auschwitz's
the less
opening
train
book
on
and
nice being.
Ruben Fein's Endgame book and the Soviet School of Chess by Kotov and Yudov. I wonder if that's in print anymore,
So now all of a sudden it's a much closer game.
you know?
A5 is played.
I'm just trying to get.
They like
Try to get
computer
some
like
pieces
Rookie 8,
down,
but that's
yeah.
probably coming.
Yeah, Rookie
Yeah.
8, but I want to just
Yeah,
not
that
watch.
bishop on C8
Needs to get out.
emerged
All
from
right.
its
So he's sitting there.
It's a big
but he's-
pot.
Yeah, right
take
now
care of
it's a
it
big.
soon.
We want it to become a butterfly.
Exactly.
You know, from
Couldn't have said it better.
Get out of its cocoon and become from a caterpillar.
Pawns can't
to a
sit on the
butterfly.
back rack, though.
Well, this is an exception.
You're right. This is like military strategy. It's like it's there. It's very interesting. All right, A4.
That's a good move.
Just want to,
Yeah,
maybe
gain
go queen
space.
B3.
You could put your rook on A5.
Exactly.
And get that into the game. So
Finally, and well, G6. Why not? If he's going to attack you, you just create
maybe
some
now
space.
bishop H6.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, why not?
F4 was a
I
very
don't
strange
like
move.
F4.
You're making too many weaknesses.
Yeah, you got to develop pieces.
Wow.
Yeah, I
mean,
talked with my opponent after
Maybe
the game.
rook B1 to prepare bishop H6, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's a good.
Now I can
move.
understand why you wouldn't want to play Queen B3.
I didn't want. I
course
saw
not.
it. I saw
Yeah.
it. I just don't want to trade off.
Right.
I don't want to
right.
trade off
You
queen
tell
that way.
But you trade it this way, it's a different thing.
Right, because then I can go rook takes A6.
Yeah, right. You get the rook
And
in
the
the
B
game.
pawn's moving.
Yeah, and your bishop
Yep.
will come out, and everything will be hunky
And
dory.
that, exactly.
Maybe white has to play. Well, I
doesn't-
like queen F3
Of
better.
course,
I
yeah,
don't
queen
like queen
F3.
B2.
Queen C2 is too passive.
Queen
Yeah,
F3
queen
idea.
F3 at least you could try to attack the king with
D4?
F5.
No.
And,
Yeah, no, definitely G4.
Yeah, but you can't
100%.
play H4 because H5. Or you could.
Yeah, even still, H4,
You can still
G4,
do-
just
Yeah.
throw over your
Queen
pawn.
Queen C2 is definitely the
Yeah,
wrong.
do it while that
Too
bishop
fast.
can't defend the king side. You're right, what was I saying? You can't get there, yeah.
Yeah, like-
Just H4.
Like if we play Queen
H4?
F3, Queen F3, I mean, you can maybe
gotta
even
play
try
Queen
making
F3.
it
Yeah,
on the
maybe-
board.
Got to try to attack.
Yeah.
Just going H4,
White
H5.
does
Yeah, do it right
else.
now, yeah. While the bishop isn't out yet. So you gotta do that. So that's what it's recommending, Queen F3, but it's still really
Definitely
close to
Queen
target.
That was all of our intuition, I guess.
Okay, so he goes Queen 2,
Yeah,
and
that's
you
the wrong
played
square.
Rook E8. Ooh.
Here, what you have to see is this crazy idea of after F5, very logical, want to open up the game, you go G5.
But you know what another pretty point of Queen F3 is? You could play Bishop D2 and connect your rooks. But in this
Now you
position,
can't.
Bishop D2 loses the knight on E2.
That's
So
another very
Good
important.
point.
that's a very
Good
important point.
Yeah. Oh, you can play Bishop D2, that's crucial.
Yeah, you got to develop you got to
That was
connect
a
your
big problem because this bishop on C1 couldn't get out.
That's what they
Right,
teach
so now
you
he
at
did
Sunday
this,
school.
and look, you just locked it up.
Yeah, so
One
now-
of the craziest positions I've ever had. Like, look at how weird this looks for black. Like, we have this pawn on A4, this pawn on G5. Our pawns are on D7, B7, C6. White has a pawn on D6. White has a pawn on D4. Like,
There's a
what's
lot of
even
problems.
Now he
happening?
can't even sack a piece on F4 because he
You
can't get the rest of these pieces
you can't
in there.
move your knight over
Wants
E2
to.
without moving your D point.
He can't
So you
get the
gotta
pieces over there
protect that.
because of this, while these pieces are over here.
Yeah, White's pieces are going to be disconnected for a long time.
So that was
Trying
like,
to, protect
that's a
old
very
weaknesses.
frustrating move. What do you play?
It's definitely not good.
H4 goes here.
Yeah, so
It's easy to second guess him.
the
It's
knight
hard to
on
find a good-
E2 has nowhere to go.
Right, there's a lot of problems.
Probably it should go back to C3, challenge the knight on D5. But it just should have never left in the
Oh,
first
this
place.
is sad.
Yeah,
Not for you.
Well, I was
Yeah.
a little bit happy.
Yeah. So here he goes. Okay, B5, and now
knight C3 should be played. I don't see anything else. A knight on E2 is not doing anything. So
so it's funny how you're just working around this isolated.
you
ramping
got your
pawn.
pieces out. You
And the
connected
structure
your
is better.
ropes, and yeah, knight C3 definitely only move.
Kind of a cop-out move. I thought
I think-
H4 would make sense.
Or you think H4?
Yeah, I was thinking
You
of
have to do it at some point, right, to open it up?
Yeah, but
Right.
maybe you play
King
H6,
out.
No, of course, H4,
Yeah.
but that can only benefit white. I think.
right. Then you could take
and then
and
knight
get the
C3.
rook to H1 somehow. I don't know.
It's so hard, right? It's easier said than
I
done.
just don't see too many options for white. What else could white do? Maybe rook B1 with the idea
Oh, and the
of
engine
B3.
says H4 too.
But the engine's starting to like black here, Black is starting to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think practically it's starting to get nice for black because now I go bishop b7. So
Maybe now white should play bishop. Even bishop takes knight.
Yeah.
but then d6 is falling, right?
Yeah, that's true too, but maybe that's not important. It's more important to connect, play bishop d2 and rook e1. The hell with the d6 pawn.
Right.
At this point, it's all about getting the pieces active, So,
And then the rook's looking down on E8 to come in, maybe.
Really scary, right?
He's got to take
I
on
guess-
B5 with the
yeah,
bishop.
I guess we don't want to give up the white square bishop.
Yeah, practically it's a hard decision.
But I think
to
you
make.
have to. It's,
Yeah, you can't play bishop
you
d2
can't
even because
untangle.
d4 is hanging with check.
Right, it's tough.
Maybe.
And
like
this is
king
one of the
d2.
best pieces black has right now. I mean, there are a few good pieces.
Yeah.
Take that thing.
So,
I'm
So
not saying you can survive.
So my opponent
Okay.
went, b5, c5. I think this is practically a hard move to make.
Yeah.
Because
it is.
you're basically saying, okay, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
hold on for dear
Yeah.
life.
But you're
think-
getting your pieces out finally, right?
But how, right? You still can't
Well,
get that
okay, the
bishop
computer
out.
gives that, and you're
But
going to play
queen
bishop
d3.
E3.
bishop d2.
But I'm going b4, rook. I'm going to go rook e4 at some point. I have no problem sacking a rook, right? I think
true.
black
Just
is just doing...
activate-
Sacking exchange, you mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Of course.
Why
I'm
not?
just saying what you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah,
I'm just
no,
trying to
of course.
find a way for him to do something because
Yeah.
he can't do anything this way because he can't.
Just got to connect the pieces
queen
when he
G2.
does it that way.
Queen B6.
Yeah.
Targeting.
again,
Knight E2 again. Oh,
Baba.
no.
Really
terrible
wanted to go
move.
rook e4, queen e4, c5, but I just decided I don't want to
Yeah.
create any complications. Like, let's
Maybe you
just
could
play
play,
it slow.
oh, you can't play C5 immediately.
I thought b4 was just like I'm trying to slow.
Yeah, the
I'm
rook
basically
on A8 is hanging.
No need to do that, but that's waiting in
there's
the
no
wings.
reason.
computer sees something. I was
So
like,
he's saying
not
he's
sure.
looking at, he could have played this move, a rook takes e4, he's waiting, which is interesting.
There's no reason to
No
even
reason
do
to, because the
that.
bishop's
And
sort of not
C5.
doing anything there.
And now
then
c5.
and then you've got
This is
the
really
two
scary.
bishops, nice white square weaknesses,
I knew it was
and
winning.
now probably he takes here, because he's at least attacking your queen,
I
right?
think I was expecting.
But then you take check. Ooh.
I thought queen.
And then
Very
you
good.
play the quiet king F8 with the idea of rook E8.
Definitely king f8 rook
And,
e8.
you know, that
You
should
could
be.
have done this, yeah.
I should have.
Actually, it
but
loves you. It loves you in this position.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
I'm
stand
not-
corrected.
So look, I'm glad we looked at this variation.
Yeah.
See,
Well, I knew it was winning. I just didn't want the comp.
See, when you
because
see-
otherwise, the square bishop is a big pawn. So
right, you see, so
Seems to
this is
make-
an interesting way to give up a piece that's better for a piece to gain
Yeah, this is.
full control of the board.
Yeah, the white squares are
These
very
bishops-
weak. So this is.
I think the
Good.
lesson here is king safety. You know, like you can sack an
Yeah.
exchange if you're attacking the king, right? If now the bishop.
And look at the way your
Yeah,
queen
and you
comes
know,
through.
your king is safe because you got G5 in and everything is locked out. So
This bishop on f6 is just beautiful.
yeah,
right?
everything is like blocked up. So white's king is the one that needs to be tended to.
So it's B4 instead,
Which is still, I mean, completely fine. I think.
just playing strategically.
So finally, h4 was played.
H4, finally.
This
Yep.
part wasn't so fun. Yeah, h6,
H6.
queen f3, bishop a6 was a nice move. And you need to get
Oh
pressure
yeah,
off that
logical. Get that bishop in the game, sure.
hg5, hg5.
Yeah.
Well, I took it off the diagonal, put it on a different one.
But
Right,
that's-
but I need to put pressure on that
But
knight.
it's a better diagonal.
Yeah, I
And the
decided.
knight on E2 is just silly. I mean, you know,
And
there's
the
no
D4 pawn
future.
has pressure, and that's, yeah.
Exactly
There
right.
was no future.
Yeah, take. Oh, the poor bishop can't come out. It's just,
King G2, but
And here I saw bishop c4, and I just for some reason like forgot about it.
Bishop where? C4?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's when we looked at the
yeah,
board, yeah. You
The computer
something else.
suggested that earlier, but
You played queen B5, right? So
Well, look at the computer
Yeah.
suggestion here.
It says bishop C4.
No, it said knight e3. Wow.
Oh, it also said,
93 works here? Oh,
Knight e3 and bishop c4. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
93, and if queen
Takes
E3,
bishop c4. Call
bishop
through.
C4, just threatening rook
E4,
E4, bishop
Isn't that
D5.
crazy?
Good.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
I won
Wait,
a
we
game
should
with a
go to
move
that.
like that at the club the other day, where I just stuck a knight on E3. This is
I would have
magical.
never
but this-
thought of that.
Wait,
Yeah,
we
so
should- maybe we
look
should
at
make
this.
Yeah.
The computer found this.
Yeah, fascinating.
But your position's so good, other ways you're winning. So, okay, so, and after,
Quiet bishop C4 and
if bishop takes,
with too many
Let's go bishop
threats.
e2.
Yeah.
And rook e4.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Bishop
So,
E2
look,
and rook
this is
E4
easy to
is
see.
crushing.
Bishop E2, and then
Yeah.
rook takes E4.
Yeah, absolutely
Is good enough,
crushing.
right? But the real test is the move knight E3, because what are you doing? I'll just take you with the queen, and then,
The Kirill game?
which?
Kirill?
Yeah.
You want?
Quiet bishop E4. That's the
Yes.
There's no way to
Grandmaster
stop bishop
won. The
D5.
Grandmaster
Hold on
won.
a second. Yeah, the Grandmaster won. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, yeah. I'll check it in a minute. Hold on.
Who won?
Bishop C4. Look at this quiet crusher. Nothing
Yeah,
can stop.
beautiful.
If the king moves,
Let me just go bishop d5.
It's
then
a
just bishop D5
And you're just
wins.
winning tons of
You know,
material.
there's no way this poor knight can come there.
Yeah, knight on E2
And
doesn't
and if
contribute.
anything else, if
Yeah.
you know, if he tries queen moves, then the beautiful
Just take
rook
it.
takes.
Yeah. Bishop D5.
What are you doing? I take you. I've won everything, Mom. Oh, Mom, save me.
Not even mom could save you.
So,
No, I don't.
Mom,
think
I
there's-
got his piece.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think anyone can save you
don't
there.
think-
Anyway, you're not going to kick yourself, right? I mean, that's a
I-
win is a win, right?
Yeah, win is a
Well,
win.
you
So you
did
go
pretty
here.
good to get out of
I
the.
don't think there's a brilliancy prize here, right?
I was very happy with my move rook a b8.
You
actually.
went Resiliency
Knight
prize.
back, okay. Well, you want to bring your rook to the H file, but you
Right.
can't.
Best. Okay, wait. I wanna. After queen G2, queen G4. Wait, I wanna. Wait, can I? I wanna.
What do you want?
Can I do one thing?
Yeah.
So here, I wanna just turn it off because I don't want it. I
Oh,
don't want a
okay, good.
spoiler.
Don't spoil it, good.
After B takes A3, if white goes, let's say rook takes. No. B takes A3.
Yeah.
Black to move. This
Black
is my
to move?
idea.
Oh,
Black to move. Okay, of course there's multiple wins, but
knight
one of them is
C3
really.
is possible.
Knight C3, bishop G5, maybe a little messy.
Oh,
I'm not.
alright.
Okay, probably no. It's probably still winning.
So
but there was one move that I thought was just kind of nice, even if it's
Hold
not
on.
the computer moves.
Hold on, with
Queen E5, they said. But I don't know if we can go Queen E5. Oh, 29.
oh, where do you see someone here kibitzing?
No. Queen E5. They said I'll move 29.
Oh, move 29, okay, they're not doing right here. I mean, try to look at the crazy Queen B2, but no.
Yes. Yes.
Shoot,
Queen
because
B2?
you're gonna use the H file for your rook quietly, or what?
Queen
Hold on,
B2?
yeah, I was looking at Queen B2, takes, oh my God, that's why.
Isn't that nasty?
Always look at the silliest moves and see if they work,
And
right?
now knight E3, knight G4, and
Oh.
it's crazy. It's a beautiful move, I thought.
Wow.
Yeah. So I thought that was really nice. It did not happen, unfortunately. I was
man.
so excited. I was like, please.
Oh, that's too bad.
And then this is still hanging at the end, and it's a
Yeah,
horrible
yeah.
piece.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
Yeah, no, it's just over.
beautiful.
Yeah, so this queen B2 move is really nice, I thought.
Very nice.
I wanted to play it a little, as Levy Rosman says, and he sacks the queen, right? Or sacks the rook.
Oh, you didn't do it. And
I
you
did
took-
this.
And you took here, and you just went doink.
Yep.
And now you got a material edge.
Yep. And now
That's
just,
all you need.
and from here was
From here, it's just technique.
It's pretty
an
dead.
important quiet.
King
move.
G7?
King G7,
what I
of
would
course.
That's a
Jay,
killer. Killer.
curtains.
Just,
Nice job.
Bring the last piece in.
yeah.
You definitely win the resiliency prize.
Try.
Congratulations, Nico
Thank you
Chasson.
so much.
Remember that name.
Jay. I hope to be back. I hope to have some more wins. I hope this isn't the last, but we'll see.
Well, you're at a good start in
You
this tournament,
definitely,
and you
off to a
managed
good
to
start.
avoid Jay for now.
Right.
He's got a half point.
That's right. You got to avoid me.
I'm
because
That's part of your
scared.
mission.
I'm
I
scared.
can still bite.
I know. I saw you. You that game against Todd Bryan. In the I Am Norm. Was it Todd Andrews or Todd?
Oh, Todd Andrews.
Todd Andrews. It was.
My only win, unfortunately.
I always
I just-
confuse them.
yeah.
Because they, both Todd.
That tournament was a real clunker for me, but it was a good experience because I need the strong players
course.
in long tournaments. You know, that's a real test as opposed to playing in game 45s,
Right. No, this
you know,
is.
against low-rated players.
This game was beautiful, but I actually have school tomorrow, so I do. It's
Well,
crazy.
look, thank you for your being a guest,
course.
and that's the idea. We want
Yeah, it
to
was a
show the
pleasure.
winners. You're
Yes.
the first
Luck and
guest.
rest of the
Thank you.
tournament.
I am 17.
Wow.
Junior.
For some
So
reason,
a
it's not
stressful year
scrolling down.
Before I apply.
Oh, wait, let's see.
colleges. Not yet, but I'm
Not
going
working.
to start.
There we go, it's working. All right. So let's see what happened.
I,
We're back to the Corrales game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is horrible.
And here we are now. Then knight f4, and look at that, g6 square. Hit. King f7, knight g6 anyway. Rook d8, bishop b6. Oh my, must have been a
winning.
time pressure move.
Just winning
Was
material.
rook d8 just like a blunder?
Yeah, but maybe rook e8 was better, but the d pawn,
The d pawn goes. So instead he did this, and then that.
yeah.
Oh, but rook e8.
Yeah, you
You
don't
said
want to.
e5 was a winning shot here, it said.
Really? Yeah, I guess so. And then,
Right, take, knight takes,
yeah.
queen d2. Now it's not as clear. Likes rook c6 for black. a4, and now
So what is the point of bishop e6 then? Looks like a waste of time.
knight e7, he takes it. Rook takes e7. I guess this now black is not dead. It likes the simple bishop a5 here.
Just winning a B pawn, or
I guess because if rook to b8,
then when you take the D pawn, you're attacking the rook.
yeah.
So,
So he didn't find it, he just took. And now it really likes queen b5. I just gotta stop looking at the engine. Rook c6,
so
queen d4. And now less and less compensation for the pawn, so he didn't want to trade. But this is even worse.
bishop D8.
He needed to trade the queens, and then he
And move the
survives,
bishop.
right?
Oh, he's down
Oh,
a
no.
pawn, but
So this was the critical moment where he went
so
to
he has to
completely
trade
lost.
queens
He
and
has to
then
trade queens.
move the bishop off at D7 because bishop D8 is coming.
So let's see
Or
how
maybe
how
even
would he
king
survive?
E8.
Queen takes, right?
Oh,
And
you have to take with a bishop because it's hanging.
yeah, so you got to take with the bishop, and now
And now I
He's got-
guess you move you could play E5 and then put your bishop on E6 and black
Yeah.
should be okay even
Yeah.
though you're down a pawn.
because you're not fatally
Because you
hurting
got
on.
bishops of opposite colors.
Yep, and you've got your white dark squared pawns covering,
Yeah.
keeping the other bishop out.
White's pawns
Oh.
are potential targets.
Fidel must have really been kicking himself here. This was a difference, just one move and one blunder, and this was the blunder, queen b5. Oh, sorry.
Bishop
Don't make it big.
D8. Yeah, bishop D8 is winning material for white. Wow,
Maybe I'll use,
wasn't so obvious.
okay. Bishop d8, and look at that.
Yeah, the game you
Wins
know,
the exchange and the game,
Yeah.
basically. After
all-
e5, queen d5 check,
Winning
and now it
material.
takes pawn takes, and you have everything.
Yeah,
hanging. Queen d5, oh, what? Rook takes. He
Well,
just
that
said, I
works
don't need
too,
to. So pawn takes, maybe
Pawn takes is
both work. But they
they're
both,
both good.
bishop, oh. Bishop takes e7,
And you're hitting
and
the other
now
rook.
king takes. He might as, because if you take the rook, you play
Yeah,
pawn
you're
takes.
attacking the other
So
rook.
now here, now it's
Oh,
a
this is
solid
too
exchange.
easy.
And look what happened though, things got a little frisky here. Don't look at the engine. What would you do after this? He took. You can't take on b3. Because of bishop d3, king a1, rook mates on a6.
However, you could do a lot of other things. You could
But you could do a lot of other
you could
things.
play C3.
No, he was really cool-headed here, you won't
You
believe
could
it. No,
play rook
c3,
E3. Rook E3 is
that's what he played.
really
Very cool-headed.
I still got it.
You got it,
I
man.
got it, baby. I still got it.
So here we go. I
Could've
mean,
been a-
he's just winning against Fidel Corrales.
That's amazing.
And a big
What
upset.
an upset. Oh boy.
But then again, Fidel will be back. He's a tough. He knows how to take it. He can take it and come back.
Yeah, there's
Let's
still
see what
5 more
happens.
rounds
Yeah.
to play. So
I mean, he's a warrior. So here we go. Rook d7. Let's see what happened. He takes. What are you doing? Okay, here.
yeah.
Oh, he's
that's-
really
that's
doing these.
desperation.
Finally, just giving it. Take.
That's
Rook, he just
desperation.
lets him take. Okay, takes
you're
that
going
one.
to trade rooks. You take
Yeah,
the other
you can't
pawn.
let him
He's
trade.
eat-
Oh,
he's
and
eating
he
him out of
finally
house and
Threw
home.
in the towel.
Yeah.
And we have, I think, is that the only upset of the round? I'm not sure. Do we
I'm sure
look up the results? Look up the results
What
now,
happened
because
with
it's getting late.
Burlington? I'm still curious about Burlington's game.
Okay, gotta go.
Because
Okay, let's
I
go
thought
back.
he was in trouble for a while. But, maybe Jessica lost her way perhaps. I mean,
Oh, shoot, wrong thing. There we go. All right, we're seeing Brewington Hardaway. Yeah, she
Yeah.
had an edge for a while there.
yeah.
Now
but
it's
I guess
looking-
She kind of lost her way. Really curious
Oh,
about
I have
that.
to click on the game? It's still... No, it's Hardaway versus Regum, right? Oh, that's
Yeah.
the old pairing, okay. Oh, now there's a lot of white men and not as many
Looks
black
like,
men here. There's a-
Looks
I
like
mean,
the blue
pawns.
man's up a couple of points.
Something about that position looks
His
very
active
good for white.
pieces, yeah.
If you just glance at it.
Jessica lost her way somehow.
Is it still going?
Should be
Can't
good.
see I can't see any clock, so I don't know.
Oh, it's only one point.
Well, now rook c7 looks like the move, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
And
Looks like Burlington is winning. 2 extra pawns, the bishop of opposite colors. And
oh, it's still going?
To the other game.
Oh, it's not, it's over. Okay, let's see. Take, check, take. All right. So now it's a matter of technique.
as
Ooh,
they say.
and it's still going from here, right? Okay.
Well, they're still playing? So now you could just play a move like King E4. Start pushing your pawn. Oh, wait, maybe this isn't so easy.
No, it's not so easy.
Because
but it should win.
the pawns on the queen side are blockaded, so, black could set up a blockade on white's F pawn, Maybe there's still hope of a draw, but,
They finished, but we're still waiting for
Oh,
the move to catch up.
right, I understand.
but white has another winning plan, maybe, to walk over to the queen side and, sack the rook for the A pawn, and you got these
Now,
pawns.
according to this, Irina Krush game is still going, so let's take that. Should we
Yeah,
check
let's
it
take
out?
a look at that.
Because that's versus the youngest player in the tournament.
Yeah, this is a fascinating matchup.
And did we have a question from James Jeffrey there? What was your question?
Oh, no, I see the picture. It was very excellent, but it's
Oh, okay, your result. Okay, yeah. We had a very exciting game with Tyrell Harriet playing some crazy pieces.
Yeah, I thought Tyrell was gonna
Almost
escape.
climbed out.
Tyrell was in a bit of a bind, but he almost bailed out.
But maybe he didn't believe it because it was so many moves of being so bad positioned that all of a sudden there was a good shot. Yeah, he did. We had him share his thoughts. He was one of our 2 guests. We're supposed to interview the winners of games, but his opponent didn't show up. So I can't find the Crush game. It keeps bouncing back to this game.
Yeah, it's a fascinating match.
I can't get to
Really
the
be
games.
curious how
I
the,
just, all right, great. Crush. All right, that looks like it. I want to go back. Yeah, see what happened. So here, remember the crush against the youngest player?
Yeah.
He's got to use her technique here.
Queen
Because she
C6.
had a chance to win by force practically.
Yeah.
So what do you think's going on? She's dancing with 2 bishops, right? That's her idea. To grind with 2 bishops. See, that's a good plan.
yeah,
Right.
White would like to play E4.
E4 is coming.
And then later Bishop G3. That would be ideal.
Right now he's going after that, but we just pull back.
Yep.
Here, rook here. Oh, yeah, right.
It's
Queen
a back
takes.
rank problem, so B2
Back
is
rank
not
problem,
hanging.
queen d6. She could have traded queens and gone into a 2-bishop ending. I
I could have
think.
probably done that because
yeah.
I like to play endgames against kids.
Yeah, I'm looking at
So
this.
I probably done that in a flash, but
Well, it's not a single engine choice. Maybe that knight is coming too quickly to c4 or something,
that's a good.
or b5.
I would
Like,
play
you-
B3 and keep it out.
Would you just trade queens? Sorry, what's going on here?
Do it, but
So if you were, let's say, to just trade queens, I should use this. And have the 2-bishop advantage here.
just play.
You know how
like
you see some
B3
endgame
and
books, just do this, endgame technique, and play this way.
beat most children
Yeah,
like
e4.
this, even though with best play it's probably
And you
a
get your
draw.
king out there and move your
I
queen
don't,
side
I don't
pawns.
like E4. I like B3.
You like
Just
B3
keep the
first.
knight out of
But
C4.
what about knight b5?
B5.
A4, knight c3, is the knight trapped?
Knight C3.
Knight trapped?
Maybe Bishop G3 with the idea of going after the black.
Then
king.
knight e2 check.
Oh, it's knight E2. You're threatening knight.
Maybe
E2.
b3 isn't ready yet. Maybe just,
Yeah,
e4.
maybe. But if Bishop G3, then you just play knight C4. So, Maybe bishop d3.
So that's why Irina's just thinking, right? Just keep it jot.
Guess that works too, more options, but, you know.
All right, we have a winner to interview for our second interview of the game. Welcome,
Joseph
Senior
Zeltsin.
Master Joseph Zeltsin,
Welcome aboard, Joseph.
who had a nice win over Candidate Master Krish Bandari. And congratulations. And let's find your game.
Something I haven't been able to do against Jay, win.
What?
Something I haven't been able to do against you, win.
Well, not recently, but give it time. You'll be back to pounding me, I'm sure. And
I'm not sure we have it here, though.
Should have been on the GT board. Oh, it's right there.
Where?
Bottom
what
left.
board?
Here? Great, thank you.
7.
Oh, so you definitely should have been on there. Yeah. Wow.
No, but you're not, that's an old pairing, Zeltsin.
Yeah, I was still on board 7 though. The top seeds didn't get their boards changed.
Okay, good. So should we go back? We didn't get to see any of your games, so should we just look at what you did? You're black.
Yeah.
Okay, so knight f3, knight f6, make a first. Great,
So far, so well. E3.
okay, fine. So far, so good.
Yeah, in all these positions, I don't like playing c5 as black.
Okay.
I would have probably tried to get my queen bishop outside
Would
the
you rather
pawn
play
chain.
b6 first,
You know.
and then c5, or what's your idea?
No, just play with like b6, bishop b7, knight bd7, knight e4, and see what's going on.
Oh, so you don't even play for c5?
Yeah, I mean maybe later once
Just
my
a
rook's
waiting. I mean, white doesn't seem to be doing anything ambitious. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
that gives you some
So,
flexibility.
here.
Yeah, okay, knight
Wow.
e4,
Like 94.
I thought knight bd7, queen e7.
Yeah, knight d7. Keep your options open. There's no reason to rush in just yet.
Lost patience.
But you do have the nicely placed bishop on d6 as opposed to the bishop on e2, so it
Yeah.
shows your enterprise.
If for knight bd7, bishop d3 wouldn't even be a terrible move, so kind of up a tempo, but
Yeah.
I should have just played knight bd7 and waited some more. Queen e7, rook d8.
Is there a reason why you like to hold back c5?
It's the tension isn't that favorable because c d opens the e file a little bit for white, and also white can
Bishop
always
on
play.
b2.
Yeah, if white plays
Becomes
dc at
active.
the right moment, he opens his bishop up.
But then you could instead don't break the tension and put your rook on c8 to c7 or something. You get more play with that queen side rook. I've had those type positions, but
Yeah, no, c5 is obviously a good move in every
Yeah.
position, but
It's a natural
but
move,
it's nice that you have your own stamp on the position where you'd
Yeah.
rather play a different way first. So that's your. I'm just checking your idea.
It's just no, since white is not ambitiously placed, you know. It definitely
We
gives
have a
you
comment from
more
Sarati
options.
Ray. Great commentary. I assume he's referring to you. Sarati
No,
Ray said, "Great."
to you.
Come on, man.
You're the master
Hey, come on.
commentator.
Oh, and we got this guy now. So this guy's giving new ideas of, you know.
That's right. Joseph Zeltsin is the great.
Move. So we'll see. So he goes for the.
Thank you.
He goes for his opponent and the pressure. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm terrible in these positions.
So you're going to play f5, right? I mean, maybe.
White should definitely take right away.
Right. So,
I just needed to make something happen.
If you play f5, then taking on e4 will be bad because if f takes
now the
e4.
goal is Victor usually has a bishop on d3. You know, the white side.
Yeah,
of
but
the
this bishop's on e2, so.
So we have a little different, interesting move order here. And so here we go. Knight
Even
d7.
f5, yeah, you could
Okay.
play f5 now, I think. That,
But
Queen
he's,
e7 first.
okay.
yep, that makes sense. There's no way the knight's going to win the bishop pair here. The knight's on d2, not c3. So we can't go to b5. So anyway, we were looking at something like that
Yeah, okay.
before.
Once I saw the rook leave f2, I
Yeah, and you're happy about f5. I was just thinking, see,
So
you
maybe
left the
we could
king
play
side.
knight e5.
yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, the
White should play knight e5.
Right now?
immediately.
after f5.
After f5, white should play knight
Okay,
e5.
but what could he improve on rook fd1? Maybe rook a c1?
Yeah, rook or even a3 with the idea of b4, just waiting, you know?
Yeah, just waiting, interesting.
Yeah, I definitely don't like rook on F to D1.
Now, notice how the master noticed that the rook left the king side and began to march his rook above the king.
Yeah, knight
now
E5,
here he did it,
yeah,
okay.
definitely gotta play knight
did it.
E5.
Yeah, and here I thought,
Now c5's a move, right? I don't
well,
know.
no, now you don't want to play c5.
You don't?
White
No.
will,
Maybe
Oh,
rook
white
F,
will open
white
and
will
get.
take on d7.
maybe,
white will
maybe
take on
rook
e4.
F6. How about rook F6?
Rook f6 I thought
You're
was a not working tactically because of c5.
Oh, that's a good point. So maybe,
Or maybe I could take c4 first and then c4. Yeah, first knight takes c4, then c5. I thought tactically I was just like collapsing.
you know, in any case, knight E5.
Yeah, if you had your rook on f1, you'd like to take on e4 and play f3 in some instances,
Yeah,
but not now.
no,
So maybe the answer is just to get your last, oh,
So
you
he
did
takes,
Rook and-
and bishop c5.
maybe f4
Okay.
is a threat, maybe.
So he damaged white's structure a bit, kept his structure more orderly, and repositioned his pieces, though the c pawn remains on c7.
Yeah, but
No way
I,
for him to capitalize.
like now that my pawn's not on c5, my bishop has a nice square.
And
It's-
f4 is the idea.
f4 is the idea. If I get the
Yeah,
right
that's a big idea. So
So look at the way, so e4, and when you take on e4, it opens the f file, and it's cramped, and
maybe white has to
like tough to
challenge
do
your
this.
bishop with bishop
Bishop D4.
D4.
I
Yeah.
thought this was like the most reasonable thing to do.
yeah,
Play bishop d4 here.
and then you
Yeah,
probably
just-
play f3, f4.
Because then F4 is not as strong.
Yeah, the engine line actually is f4 anyway, and that is what I was going to do. And the point was that I have some knight takes f2 trick somewhere.
There's also maybe, I don't know if knight F3, I guess on knight F3 you'll play F4.
Yeah.
And even if you put something on D4, the taking on E3 is just too good for you. Pawn on E3 is
We
weak.
have a little tidbit here. Fidel is playing the Swiss Gambit. He got hit by a round one train.
Oh, my
Brian
God.
Lee. All right,
Yeah.
we got it. We had that given to us by I Will Checkmate Your Soul.
Gotta watch out for these youngsters. They're all improving. I mean, any of them could bite at any time, you know. There's a lot of talented youngsters in this group.
All right,
you know.
yeah, and here we go. So let's see.
Can't-
He took on d5. Now let's see what. Yeah.
If he takes on e4, I mean, okay, I'm obviously not going to.
I think
Yep.
maybe knight F3
Yeah.
with the
But
idea of
f3,
knight
f4, I think you're.
F4. That
Yeah, you
Right.
have to go.
So all of a sudden he can put a knight on c4, but he's too slow now.
I mean, now that
too
c4
slow.
doesn't do anything.
And right, because of your beautiful c7 pawn, the knight has nowhere to go.
to recommend.
A3 is too
Like
slow.
G3 doesn't slow you down.
a3, a5, I can.
G3, you
Yeah.
can play G5 even.
It's hard to,
g5 is.
oh, you,
I mean, it's
Maybe
like-
bishop D4 in this
maybe you have to
position.
take on e4 as bad
Yeah,
as
what
it is.
happens on bishop D4?
Bishop,
Just challenge that bishop.
bishop d4.
Take,
so you're
away,
saying-
take away the strength of
Well,
F4.
he did bishop 3, but if
Yeah, I
you
don't
play
like that.
bishop d4,
'Cause the
probably-
bishop's not doing anything.
and now you're gonna take it? Oh, no, you
Now
let
we
him
have
take.
white.
I wonder
So
what I would
F4?
do. I'm not sure. I could have some options. Bishop b4. I could take on d4 also. F4 does not. F4 is blundering a piece.
F4 blunders a piece.
Wait, queen g5 is hope chess. I probably shouldn't do that.
Queen what?
Queen g5. That's probably not going to work.
Yeah.
Hope chess.
I could take on.
Oh, queen G5, knight
Knight
F3.
f3.
Take on C5.
I could take on d4 and start.
Queen h4 is a softening move.
You know,
Queen g4 is a move too.
Yeah, I mean, soften up the king side a little. Force
I mean, okay, it's not like I'm going to be close to winning or anything here. It's just the position I keep playing. Probably about equal.
So,
White's pretty solid. I have a slight initiative, maybe.
maybe just take on D4 and put a rook on D8.
Some random dude-
Play against the weak D pawn. That's you have queen B4 somewhere in the mix, and maybe just
random dude says,
It's possible to play that.
do you think, wait, some random dude said, do you
Knight
think
F2.
Chloe Gaw can hold on to her position? Well, that's a different game. Okay, let's see what happens.
I mean, that's,
Look at
you
that
get 3
game
pawns
and
for a
all.
piece if you play knight f2, but
we've been
that's
ignoring Chloe Gaw.
Bad. It's bad, yeah. Here
Oh,
it
so
is
he,
much-
so With F3 was
Yeah, Queen
played,
H4 I was very happy
and now
about.
Queen H4 came in.
Because I was worried I'd have
now-
to start going back and...
So now I believe G3 will come, or, yep, and then now,
Yeah, so there's a tactical point. White
Yep.
takes twice on E4, knight takes C4, F takes C4, bishop takes C4, it moves to rook takes F2.
Ah, very
And
nice.
king takes F2, queen takes H2, and
Yeah.
queen takes F2, bishop takes C3, it was a split.
and we'd like to see the concentration of power on the weak only pawn cover is disintegrated by your
Yeah.
pieces in that combination. Should we look at that, or anyone want to look at that, or everyone see that?
Probably we should put it on the board. It's
Okay, let's take a look.
It
So
would be a good
if
idea.
you said if
If knight takes C4,
knight takes E4,
F takes.
F takes, right?
The computer already says -5.
And
bishop
watch,
takes
you
C4.
got if bishop G2, there's a shot here. Rook takes
Oh,
F2,
yes. Hey, but-
because we see
very nice.
how the
queen.
pieces aren't defended. You know, the pawn chain is not defended. There's too much concentrated attacking power.
King takes,
And
queen
queen takes,
H2,
and
and
if
then
queen
rook
takes,
F8
we have
is
the-
coming.
Beautiful.
Otherwise, you
Pin.
win the queen. Very nice.
And the other one, king takes, it
takes.
obviously is
Queen
very.
H2.
Queen H2 is even better, huh?
Queen E3.
Queen E3 is fine with
Oh,
rook
queen
F8.
E3 is mate.
With rook F8, right?
That's right. That's
Queen
that's
E3 is
much
mate.
much better. And then rook F8. It's all over. Oh my
Okay.
God.
No, even better, queen G1 check,
Yeah, and then
and queen
Yeah.
F2 mate.
mate, yeah.
But even queen H2 might win if you really want
No,
to
it's-
rub it in.
No, actually, it's always better to let your lowest foot soldier give mate. One time I was playing in Washington Square, and I was a master, and I was like in 1500, and he said, "And why do you mate with your pawn instead of the queen there?" I said, "Because it only moves 1 inch rather than a whole board." He goes, "No, because you always let your lowest foot soldier give mate." Do you remember that guy who was a master Latin dude with a garage? He worked in a garage, curly hair, chubby, but a solid master, and he had his name on his thing. And I remember how he told me that with very much authority. Anyway, let's get
You
it.
should listen to him.
Pawn
Yeah.
mates are the best mates.
Well,
Always
yeah,
give mate
yeah,
to the pawn.
I mean, so let's go back.
Oh, I can't believe I looked
Okay,
at
yeah.
queen
So
H2.
apparently
and
here
not
the
queen
engine is saying that
E3.
only... This was terrible. Bishop takes C4 this must be losing.
Yeah, and now knight F1.
This is the only way to defend.
He holds on. See, now you don't get to sacrifice your brilliancy, but still. Yeah.
Now, you could play queen H3 and then rook F5 and rook H5.
What was funny is that this pawn remains on C7 the whole time. I don't think I've ever had the.
You could play
that didn't
bishop G7, bishop A6, and then take the knight on F1 that's defending the pawn on H2, right?
That takes a lot of moves, and E4,
Yeah.
I have to defend E4 to do that. I have to stop bishop D4 from being
that's
effective.
true. Well, you could pile up on the F file.
You're going to pile up on the F file.
Yeah,
That's
but
probably-
I mean,
So let's.
I defend 7 in case I need it, and I'm...
And then you gotta find a way to break through somehow.
Okay, so here I just want H5.
Maybe
H4.
queen H3 followed by H5 and
Okay.
H4.
Yeah, I put the
The
queen on G6.
old-fashioned can opener.
Here at the Marshall, we're delving into the mind of the master by interviewing him after his win, and we're seeing his idea. This queen move, why would he do that? I would automatically double rooks. Well, maybe. He wants to push his H pawn and
Yeah.
undermine the king side with
That
H5.
makes a lot of sense.
And he also bolsters his E pawn. So we see here A4. Okay, he's going to do the same thing over here. He's learning from the guy who's
He
playing.
wants to play bishop A3 and trade off his bishop.
Yeah, this is what
The bishop ain't doing anything, but
A5 says no. I get to have fun. You don't,
I'd still
because he's
play bishop
controlling the board.
A3.
It's funny.
So he played bishop A3 here.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you lose the E5 pawn long term.
Oh, really? Okay, but
Yeah, the E5.
The E5 pawn's not that important because of how bad White's position
maybe,
is, but-
and if you play bishop D4, then bishop B4.
All right, got to give White some credit. He's finding ways to relieve some of the pressure on his
yeah.
position
But
here.
okay, like bishop A3, rook A3.
Maybe it's no big deal to lose the E5 pawn.
Rook A3 and H5. Okay.
Apparently that was a horrible move. Oh wow, I blundered at 4.
Oh, you blundered F4 here because of the because it's the
because
queen's not
of-
protected anymore, which you
yeah,
can't play en
absolutely.
passant. So he could have played F4.
Oh, yeah, definitely improve his position.
And
That's a really bad blunder.
Lucky.
now he's turning red, and no, I'm kidding. We all
But you're still
No, it's
good on
okay.
the queen side, yeah?
Yeah, I can still play on
a
the queen
healthy 3 against 2 on the queen
Yeah.
side, so that gives you a winning plan.
Right.
Even,
Okay, but
even
of
though
course I
he's
should
got
go-
an F4,
It's so
queen F5.
easy to just do that. It happened in a lot of games we've been looking at. Things like, it's so easy to just miss something.
We kept blundering this every.
So here we go, he didn't
No, he
play
played Queen
it.
D1. It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
And now it's gone, there's no more F4, so
F4
G4.
wasn't getting,
And he's not necessarily gonna take on G3, he's just gonna keep.
No, I want to move
right
it to
there.
H3 so I can mate on G2.
Oh, he might do that,
That's the idea.
but you can just leave it.
Or
you could play quietly, king F8, king E7, and rook H8, and mate him on the H file. What's white doing meantime?
Right? Finally, you did the stereotype move, double
Okay.
rook. Now he's gotta defend that so he can double his rooks. Well, he could have doubled rooks, but he's got it, and it's hard to say.
He wanted to play B4, so I didn't let him.
You gotta redeploy that
I think he
bishop.
needs to play rook B2 so he can play rook D5 and sack the exchange.
Bishop on D5 needs a roll.
I know, I mean,
How do we get that
It's
bishop
bad.
in the game?
I guess he can't do that. He can. Yeah.
After we both blundered F4, there are no more hits.
And by leaving the pawn on C7, you have no weakness on B6 too.
Yeah. Well, now he's threatening to play B4, so I played C5. Now I played C.
Good.
Now you play C5
That
because there's
pawn
no
on
way to get it.
B3 is a target.
So here I am saying you shouldn't, and you
You
played
know.
it.
Well, it kind of compromises your structure a little bit.
Now he takes it. Okay, does he have anything else to play? It's just getting
That
tough.
looks like desperation.
All he can do is. Also, I was up on time here, so
You know,
So that helps as well.
he can sit and wait, but eventually he's going to get slowly.
Yeah. Yeah, you could just play as you
man, the
please.
only thing I see is to play King G2 with the idea H3 and get the
then
knight to
G4.
H2 and get the knight to
If you do
H2.
that, I'll probably just plant the rook on F3.
Oh, and
Yeah.
then the
G3.
H1 is a target.
Right, but at least it's a move, right? I mean, what else
But
can
how
he do?
do
He's
you
got to get his
to
knight in the
play?
game.
I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, the problem is that he has to do something, but there's also nothing to do.
okay, so would you say this is an example of just strategically making your opponent's position just almost a Zugzwang?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
mean-
I had some help.
yeah,
Yeah.
you could just play all day here, because white is.
if anyone
very
has any
passive.
question here, feel free to raise your hand. Raise your hand. Yeah. Yeah.
Your G3 hangs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there's another rook takes F2 shot, right?
You,
Yeah,
you
queen
can't
takes
hang your
G3.
G3.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I want to get, I mean, I'm going to lose any way I play here. I just got, where can I move the knight? If I could get it out to D2, I can't.
Yeah,
Gotta-
the knight
That's
has
the
no
problem.
move.
You
None of the
can't.
pieces are going anywhere.
Right, because you're always going to be able to sack on somewhere.
Rook F5
No, you
and
need
Rook
to-
H5 will happen somewhere.
How about rook E2, idea knight D2? That's the only idea,
Yeah.
right?
So,
Rook E2,
Well, then I guess you
And you're
take
right,
A3
B2.
right now.
probably, but I don't know. Wait,
All right, so Rook F5 then.
yeah, rook F5.
Just
and
try
then you'll
to-
just,
Just try to develop an attack.
all right,
on the
but
H.
at least this is
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah.
And,
This is,
uh,
yeah, rook E2 is probably, it looks a little ugly, but it's probably the best.
And then I could get it to C4 and the
Maybe
B6
you
is
take
weak
on
if you take.
G3 now. Now that's true. Maybe we got to continue to wait. Maybe Queen H5, something like that.
All right, so that's what I would do at least to try
That's
to,
the best try.
yeah, so anyway, here we go. Rook
Yeah,
takes D5.
this just doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just
Gunning for the
conceding
brilliancy
game,
prize. Trouble is, Queen F5 and,
among
Right
other
there.
things.
And now he's getting.
oh,
Yeah, Queen F3.
oh, you can't play knight D2, so,
Right, he can.
yeah,
It's
and
over.
now, oh, man.
Yeah,
Okay, beautiful.
Yep,
Yep, so there goes the value of the exchange
it's too
sacrifice.
easy.
Now he doesn't even have a pawn for it.
Yeah, now we just wait to. Okay, this is.
Definitely desperation.
Eventually, I just invade on E2.
Yep.
I was surprised there was no mate, but. Yeah, here you
That's easy enough. You don't have to make.
Look how Mr. Zeltsin finished off.
Yep,
Take,
very
take,
simple.
take.
Simple is best. And the rook comes in and eats up the queen side.
Rook
Very
to
easy.
D3.
Yep. Very nice.
Very nice. Congratulations.
Seems like I played a decent game except for blundering F4, which was.
Isn't fatal, you know.
And like
Like I said, your position was so good, you
Yeah, I could still play for.
could just torture your
And it-
had no active plan.
and at the risk of being repetitive, he avoids Jay Bonin by winning because
Right, I didn't want to win
like Nico.
because I'm coming in with a half-point buy tomorrow. So all the winners actually avoid me, maybe. So
All right, I'm going to give results now because it's time to go to bed. It's time to sign off soon, so I'm going to tell you here are your
the
results.
games are over.
Brian Lynn defeated Fidel Morales Jimenez in a stunning upset.
Yeah, that's the big game of the day.
Grandmaster Andrew Tang defeated Tyrell Harriott, who played a very creative,
Yeah.
if not sound, scrappy counterattack.
Tyrell almost bailed out. What happened with Brewington when?
Hold on, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Luke Hoffman lost a game to Grandmaster Jurabak Kabrakulov.
Okay, no surprise there,
Nikola
I guess.
Bortnik, international master, defeated Aditya Das in the first game over. A Najdorf
Yeah, that was
crap.
a quick one. No.
Akash Meduri, one of our newest masters, lost a tough one to Nico Chasin after achieving a +3 advantage in position if he'd wanted it. Irina Krush is still playing
still
against
playing.
Cheng Xuan Ling, the 9-year-old. We have a grandmaster against our youngest competitor. And Krish Mandai lost to Joseph Zelton
Yeah,
in the game we
that
just saw, the
game.
masterful positional squeeze. FIDE Master Brewington Hardaway with 2 IM norms already defeated Jessica Regum.
Brewington
In a game she had in this
isn't- got his title.
You right. I will checkmate your soul.
He has one CM norm, Brewington Hardaway.
Leaf Pressman, I don't have the result yet against James Marsh. Let's see if we have an updated result. Leaf Pressman, no result. Maybe still going. Nikolosi Nikololeko lost to Grant Zhu, 2394. Zachary Tannenbaum won his game against Camelia Sharuda, one of the better finishers in the women's championship. Theodore Cachere, I hope I said that right, lost to William Grafe. John Hughes defeated Chase Knowles. Jack Nathaniel lost to Eugene Yu. Evan Rosenberg sewed up the win against Joseph Otero. Aiden Teitelman is still playing Daniel Johnson. Brian Weiss defeated Robert Lee. And Serge Adelson defeated Dorothy Teasley, the New York legend, women international master. Who, long way to go for all of you here. It's only round 1. Thank you, Jay, for your assistance.
You're very welcome.
We'll see
it was
you.
a pleasure.
And Alex Lenderman will see you tomorrow for round 2. I'll be back for round 3 on Saturday.
Glad you enjoyed it.